Happy Friday, everybody. That's the good news. The bad news is the Warriors played basketball. And in just a few minutes, Armando Lara is going to join me because it is Friday. And that's usually time for happy hour. And it's a special post-game edition of happy hour. And again, Armando Lara is going to join us in just a moment, following the Golden State Warriors extending their losing streak to 4. Losing this one tonight, 127-117. Is that a final? Damn, NBA has not updated their media box score, you sons of bitches. I believe 127-117 is the final. Yes, it is. And again, the Warriors dropping a game, 2 games below 500. 4-game losing streak. We'll check out the standings in just a second. Bunch of injuries, but at least in the tanking plan, things are going good. So at least there is some good news on that front. The Warriors' prospects for a high draft pick in this summer's NBA draft exceeded following tonight's loss. So we're going to talk about it. Again, the professor is going to join us in just a second. We'll obviously welcome anybody who's interested in coming on the program. Still have Kerr apologists existing, huh? You folks will never go away. You're just like a weed. You're like a cockroach. I guess you just when you believe in something, the human nature side of things kicks in, and you just stubbornly have to stick with it instead of admitting you're wrong. There are people out there who probably think PJ Carlesimo is still a good coach. People out there who probably still think that Keith Smart should come back and be the head coach. Jesus Christ. Boy. All right. Let's talk about it. Happy Friday. The program's called the Golden Days, and we're powered by FanDuel.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Welcome to the program. My name is Cyrus Saatsaz. You can follow me on Threads and Instagram at DogWild. Over on Twitter, my handle is at SurfJournalist. The program on both platforms at Golden Days Pod. We're brought to you by FanDuel. The Warriors, following tonight's 127-117 loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves, embark on a 6-game road trip, which begins Sunday in New York at Madison Square Garden. Multiple reports indicating that Stephen Curry will not join the team on the trip. And this is how the road trip's going to look. It starts with the Knicks Sunday. Then the Warriors play at the Wizards Monday. Shame that Stephen Curry cannot aim for 100 points in that one. Then Wednesday, they're at the Celtics. Friday, they're at the Pistons. So that Wizards game is absolutely must win. I mean, it would be probably the lowest of low points in Steve Kerr's tenure as head coach if they lose that game. And then the one that a lot of people are anticipating, Saturday night, Warriors at the Hawks, where Jonathan Kuminga gets a chance to splatter Hawk egg all over Steve Kerr's face. And then the 6-game road trip will conclude a week from Monday at Atlanta. And that's going to be ugly. That's going to be ugly. Early prediction here on the road trip, 2-4. Wins at Washington and Dallas, losses everywhere else. Could be wrong on that. The Golden State Warriors are tryhards. So they get the A for effort most nights. And that effort catches other teams off guard. So who knows what will happen between now and a week from Monday when they play their final game on the road. Tonight, though, again, it was a game that at the end of the first half, the Warriors were getting their asses kicked. They were down by 21 points at the half. And Anthony Edwards was spearheading this whole thing. 42 points for Ant on 4 of 9 shooting from beyond the arc. Perfect 12 of 12 from the free throw line. And it looked like a blowout. But then in the third quarter, the Warriors started to rally a little bit and made this a competitive one. By the end of the third quarter, the 21-point Timberwolves lead, I can make sure my math is right here, had been trimmed down to 13. And they stayed competitive in this one, your Golden State Warriors. But injuries were a theme. Seth Curry left the game, I believe, with an injury. Let's check the updates here real fast and see if there's any news on certain players that left this game. Seth Curry left. Did he ever come back? No news on that front. It was supposedly, at least according to a couple people on socials, saying it was a lower body injury. So if Seth Curry played his last game for the Golden State Warriors, Godspeed. And then Al Horford left this game, I believe, in the first quarter with a calf strain. And calf strains have suddenly become very serious business in the NBA because we've all seen the rash of Achilles injuries over recent years, more specifically. And so anytime a player gets a calf strain, all of a sudden you get team doctors freaking out, playing it overly cautious, probably rightfully so. And in the case of Al Horford, I don't know when we'll see him next. Big Al playing just 4 minutes, 55 seconds. And that's that. And then Quentin Post, who saw some run tonight because Draymond Green was a late scratch. Draymond was expected to play. Again, when it comes to Dre, it's a classic Ezal injury if he's going to miss time. Tonight, notwithstanding. Lower back injury.
Oh, my neck, my back, my neck and my back. Oh.
So Draymond, in hindsight, wisely choosing to skip this game because Minnesota's big. They're physical. They're not an easy team to battle. And so Draymond ducked the smoke. And Al Horford goes down. Quentin Post goes down. Quentin Post rolled, I believe it was an ankle injury that took him out of this one. He had played 11 minutes, 29 seconds. And when all was said and done, the one big who was still standing, Kristaps Porzingis, who actually, I think we could safely say had his best game as a member of the Golden State Warriors. Pingus stepping up, coming through. Bravo. Kudos to Tingus Pingus, tonight's FanDuel player of the game, following a career game for him. 7 of 16 from the field as a member of the Warriors. 2 of 5 from beyond the arc. 40%. You could live with that. 4 boards, 2 assists, a steal, a block, 20 points for Kristaps. In a game where really nobody looked exceptional. Guy Santos, I need to double check this real fast because I could have swore Guy Santos had 2 points entering the fourth quarter of this game. Let me confirm that really quickly. I'm almost positive that is accurate. At the end of the first half, Guy Santos had 2 points. Guy Santos had 2 more points in the third quarter, so he had 4 points in quarters 1 through 3. And then he had a nice fourth quarter to salvage at least the stat line. The Timberwolves size clearly causing issues on his half, but Guy did play the entire fourth quarter, had a 13-point fourth quarter to save a little face statistically in this one, finishing with 17 points, 8 assists, 1 steal, 3 rebounds. But again, it took him a long time to get going. And he was a huge reason why the Warriors were able to claw their way back and make this a close one throughout the fourth. At least they kept things a little interesting here. Podziemski supporters will probably look at me and go, how dare you not give him FanDuel Player of the Game honors tonight? And at least from the three-point line, Podziemski did not have a bad game. He was 5 of 10. Good for him. Inside the three-point line, he was 3 of 8. That's not good. And the biggest reason why I will not give Podziemski Player of the Game honors tonight is because he had 2 assists. 2. 25 points, 10 boards, 2 assists for Brandon Podziemski. He just cannot make his teammates better. I don't know how you folks feel, but like, it is not pleasurable. It isn't fun watching Warriors basketball when Brandon Podziemski plays. That's at least me anyways. I literally just watch it and go, when is he going out? When can we watch someone who actually is a fun guy to watch, who actually plays winning basketball and not me basketball? Anyways, not a bad night for him, but again, for someone who has the ball in his hands all the time, who's the quote-unquote point guard of this team, 2 assists. Will Richard had a bad game. Will Richard this is the first time all season he will be called out, deservedly so. You can't play 29 minutes and 16 seconds and come up with 0 points. Yet that's exactly what Will Richard did tonight. He played 29 minutes, 16 seconds and scored 0. Will Richard's stock took a hit tonight. I own that stock, which means I took a hit tonight. God damn it. I'm speaking figuratively. Will Richard had 3 field goal attempts this entire game. They were all 3-point attempts, and they went nowhere. Will Richard did have 5 rebounds, 1 steal, but 0 points in 29 minutes. Not a good look. No way to spin that. This Warriors team is bad. And the only, first of all, Mark Spears, I had a nice conversation with him earlier today, did backtrack just a little bit. And in regards to his comments a few days ago, where he came out and said that Stephen Curry's expecting a superstar to join this team this offseason. He said it like it was a fact. It was kind of a crazy thing to say. And he was on the Warriors flagship station, 95.7 The Game today. Side note, he's now a part of their rotation as a paid contributor. KNBR apparently cannot afford the bills anymore. And so Mark clarified today and said that is what he thinks is going to happen, not what Stephen Curry thinks is going to happen. Mark Spears thinks that Steph is going to get some help this offseason, meaning like he thinks a star player is going to come into town, and he thinks it's either going to be Giannis Antetokounmpo, who I will hold 0 hopes for him leaving Milwaukee ever, or LeBron James. And then you have Homs in the chat saying they say that every offseason. Yeah, you're probably right. I'm just the messenger here. I'm just relaying what that clarification was today. But the every indication is that next year is going to be the quote unquote last dance for the Golden State Warriors. Side note, in my humble opinion, in my opinion, I'm trying to get that word humble out of there. Rick Barry gave me some coaching a little while back, and in terms of my broadcasting, and was like, you got to drop the humble. I'm like, all right. In my opinion, pretending that there is another run in this team and bringing it back next year, massive mistake. In what world is it not going to look like this? Like, Steph's another year older. Jimmy Butler is going to be 37, trying to come back from a torn ACL. Draymond Green's already missing games because of his back, his neck and his back. And excuse me. And I just don't get this at all. Chase Center had a lot of empty seats again. And for anyone out there who's still holding out hope that Steph may come back, and I'm not saying he's not going to, but Anthony Slater was on Hoops Collective. It's an ESPN podcast, and had this to say about whether or not we're going to see Stephen Curry come back and why we keep getting these 10-day evaluations and why there's a good chance we're not going to see him at all. Here's Slater.
Season has become the season in this final Steph era. And I don't think at all they want to jeopardize that. And this is, from what I gather, an injury that, they fear if you do put him back on the court and he's not quite ready, it could, re-injure, re-aggravate.
We'll play that one more time. But what Anthony Slater is saying there is that the Warriors are planning for next year. The NBA, like, training camps usually start in September. We're in early March. That's a half year away, 6 months. Yet Slater is saying that as a precautionary measure to avoid making things worse for Steph, the prudent move here is to play it very safe now so that next year, when he's 38 going on 39, he can be healthy.
Next season has become the season in this final Steph era. And I don't think at all they want to jeopardize that. And this is, from what I gather, an injury that, they fear if you do put him back on the court and he's not quite ready, it could, re-injure, re-aggravate.
So that's where we're at in terms of the Steph situation. Yeah, this is rough. A paid chat. This is from Trees in 21.99, dropping $2, writing, when he says we, I'm guessing sensible members of Dub Nation have nothing to look forward to after Kuminga left. I see a lot of people in the chat saying that that the Warriors are in full-on tank mode. What really depresses me personally is that I don't think Steve Kerr is trying to tank. I think he's trying to win all these games. That's what makes it super just wow. It's one thing if they were being creative about this. It's one thing if Brandon Podziemski is playing 35 minutes like he did tonight, and the box score you're looking at will likely say 36, depending on what box score you see. It was 35 minutes, 53 seconds, which means a lot of the box scores will round up 36. I don't think he's playing Podziemski 36 minutes to tank. I think he's playing him 36 minutes because he thinks that guy can actually be a solid basketball player in the NBA. Like, he's trying to win these games. I believe firmly. I mean, the good news is, though, they are still losing, so it does improve their draft position. And again, in a draft like we're going to see in this upcoming summer, where it's not the top pick that you're aiming for, it's one of the top 4 that all but makes you feel damn good about your selection. If you finish the percentages, if you finish with the 10th worst record in the NBA, which I had some people even like a week or two ago laughing, saying that there's virtually no chance of them attaining that mark, bottom 10, they're on the cusp. I think realistically, the Bucks are going to be the hard one to finish with a worse record than, but I think Portland will surpass them, even though Portland's trying to tank themselves. Weird times in the NBA when you have multiple tanking teams who are all but certain to make the play-in game. So you're going to see them in the postseason, yet at the same time, they're not trying to win shit. It's ugly. It's just a very ugly look. The NBA has to do something about all this, but and I'm guessing they will this offseason. But for now, while the rules are in place to reward you for tanking, 11th worst, maybe 10th worst, very much in play. If the Warriors can finish with a worse record than Milwaukee and Portland, that is the 10th worst record. So at bare minimum, you're going to get the 10th pick in the NBA draft. By some chance, one of the worst teams than you gets top 4. I think you actually might get pushed down to 11, but 10 or 11, that's a good spot. And even better than that is if you finish with the 10th worst record in the NBA, you have a 14% chance to get a top 4 pick in the draft. And 14% sounds a hell of a lot better than 3% or 4%. Those are the odds to get the number 1 pick, which usually is what teams are aspiring for in a typical lottery. But that's how deep this year's draft is, where you just top 4, you are celebrating. So if the Warriors finish with the 10th worst record in the NBA, they have a 14% chance in the draft lottery to get a top 4 pick. I like those odds, is what I'm trying to say. See if there's any sound that has come down. This is courtesy of Sam Gordon of the San Francisco Chronicle. With this soundbite. And this is Steve Kerr. Got a couple of them here. But again, we'll start with Sam Gordon, who has Steve Kerr talking about how beat up the Golden State Warriors are. Where is the professor? Where are you, Armando Lara? I thought I was doing a happy hour show tonight. Again, if you're a student of Armando Lara's watching this, you are perfectly okay using this program tonight as evidence for you being tardy to your class. Academics cannot be tied up in hypocrisy. Professors are supposed to lead by example. So again, if you're Armando's student, take your sweet ass time showing up to next class. And if he calls you out, bring up Golden Days. Here's Steve Kerr following tonight's game, talking about how beat up the Golden State Warriors are.
Yeah, we're going through it for sure. But you saw how hard the guys played and stayed in it and got the fans into it. And we can't ask anything more of our players right now, what they're giving effort-wise and playing together. But yeah, we're about as beaten up as any team I can ever remember.
How are the Al and Quentin and Blanken on the last one?
I don't know. I haven't talked to any of the training staff yet. Yeah.
And here's one more soundbite. God damn, this is depressing shit. And this one again, turn the volume up, please, when we play these, because these sound bites are coming courtesy of local beat reporters. They're uploading this using their cell phones. And this one is from Joseph Dykes with the Bay Area News Group, which includes the Mercury News, which includes like Conch Cross the Times. And here is sorry, I just saw Uncle Fester on my feed. What was that about? And here is again, Steve Kerr. And this time he's talking about managing lineups. And again, I don't know if this is the same cut or if it's something different, but let's hear from the head coach again, Steve Kerr, a man who I pray is not in power next year, but since my odds of getting what I want are about 25% on average in life, I'm going to guess he's coming back next year. Here's Kerr.
Well, you don't have a choice.
Whoops. Shit. Hold on one second. Forgive me. There we go. Okay, here's Steve Kerr once again.
Well, you don't have a choice. You just keep trying to shuttle guys in and trying to find combinations that click. We found a few in the second half, and there was a good rhythm to the game. And we've got multiple guys on minutes restrictions too. So Seth Cooper handles the rotation stuff, and then he's got it all on his iPad. And as we adjust, he's having to make adjustments to make sure our guys don't go over the minutes restrictions. So there's a lot to Rubik's Cube right now, trying to figure it out.
Unless your name is Brandon Podziemski, in which case you just get all the minutes no matter what, because that's how Steve Kerr leads, with favoritism. He likes mediocrity. Mr. Apace, Mr. A Space writing, where was Nate Williams tonight? That is a damn good question. My guess is Santa Cruz. Why was he in Santa Cruz? I don't know. But if you're insinuating they could have used them tonight, I feel you. You're making too much sense already. We're talking Warriors, where nothing makes sense. Link is going to be posted in the chat if you want to come on the show. Shooty Smokehouse, future sponsor of the program. What's up, Tom? Saying so much for making season ticket holders happy. LOL, the lower level seats looked empty tonight. They did. This is the second game, I believe, in a row now where there have been very clearly, visibly empty seats right along center court too. And we talked about this last show where the early returns on how the modern Warriors season ticket holders' behavior looks like is not a fan who's passionate, is not a fan who's going to boo, but it's a fan who just won't show up because there's cooler things to do, bro. We're in the city. I'm a tech bro. I have money and I have no independent thoughts. So I just have to do what's trendy because that's all I know what to do. And the Warriors are trendy when they win. When they lose, bro, we got money to waste. Let's just ditch Chase Center and, I don't know, go to Folsom Street. What's that club, bro? Let's go to the Mission and get a burrito, bro. KKS writing, was Lacob even there? I don't know. I don't know. Ace 1900 saying nobody wants to watch Brandon Podziemski play. Agreed. Sideshow Bob is not entertaining. Like, it reminds me of like when this team had Troy Murphy and he had some people going, dude, he was a lottery pick. Maybe he'll someday turn into something. $5 donation from Daniel Board Gray saying the season's done. You might as well get a top draft pick to have any hope for next season. If the Warriors lose 14 more games, will it help in the draft? Yes. The standings right now, let me take a look at that really quickly here. I guess we're at that point of the show already. So I'm looking at the standings here. And by the way, I'd love if someone in the chat can enlighten me on what the other shows are saying. Like, and when I say the other shows, I mean pretty much anyone else out there who talks Warriors and who until this point has just been spinning endlessly that Kuminga's bad for the team. Steve Kerr's a genius, bro. Brandon Podziemski's better than Cade Cunningham. Those schmoes. What are they saying right now? What is there to talk about? Are they just reading stats? Are they just recapping shit? Like, I am curious. If the Warriors lose 14 more games, they're currently 32-34. There is, let me see if I can do my math right here. So there's 16 games left in the season. That's crazy. So you're saying if they lose 14 of their last 16, If they lose 14 of their last 16, yeah, it's going to help them tremendously. If they lose 14 of their last 16, the Golden State Warriors will finish the year 34-48, which likely means they'll fall even below Memphis. Well, maybe Memphis. They'll definitely fall below Portland, and they'll still finish as the 10 seed. That's how pathetic the tanking teams are. They removed themselves from play-in contention back in like December. And I do think you could finish worse than the Milwaukee Bucks. The Golden State Warriors right now are 4 games up on the Bucks. And that to me is your target. Because if you can finish with a worse record than Milwaukee, you got a top 10 pick. Oh, Bad Hombre left. Bad Hombre, where'd you go, man? KKS with the donation and no words accompanying it. You don't have to pay another $4.99. What did you want to say, KKS? Enderman saying the only other good Warriors show is the Great Shard All. Is he live right now? Is that where he's at? Oh my God. Turkey gang in our chat saying that we better hope Steve Kerr comes back. Otherwise, there's nothing to talk about. What is there to talk about now? I want to be happy, man. I don't like being negative. My angle on this show from day one has always been just being honest, man, giving you the broadest scope imaginable in terms of what's going down with this Warriors team, and not just giving you pro Warriors PR spin. But there hasn't been a whole lot to be positive about, as this Warriors team has just slowly been spiraling into a crash. But the spiral has been slow as F. It's dragging out, man. I'd rather have this thing just finish now so they can full on rebuild, and we can sit here and actually like talk about prospective young players who have high ceilings that have yet to be attained, and get excited about prospects and get excited about the future. There is no future to get excited about right now. As long as Kerr is there, there is nothing to be positive about. And it's so bad, there's nothing to even be negative about. We're going to finish this show within an hour tonight. That's where we're at. You folks have been duped. And when I say you folks, I mean you out there who actually think Steve Kerr has a proper head on his shoulders pertaining to coaching an NBA team. You folks are out of your minds if you think Steve Kerr still has it. I don't know if he ever had it. He just had an unbelievable organization setting him up with damn near perfect rosters, and the jig is up. And now you see what this guy is, man. He's just like any other coach with a Evan Ball texted me tonight. Let me read his text real fast. I do have one email I want to get to. Evan wrote to me, quote, "There was a time when Steve Kerr's offensive philosophy was ahead of the curve. The spacing, the emphasis on volume three-point shooting, occasional small ball. It worked against teams still transitioning out of 90s to Kobe era basketball. But now that every team in the league has adopted the same principles, he's at best on par with the league. And when he goes extra small, he's effing behind the curve of a league gently rediscovering the value of size and mid-range shooting." He's right. Abraham DeLeon, I don't know what happened. Ever since I criticized Buddy Hield, you just vanished on me, even though you usually have very smart takes. Writing in our chat, Podziemski got 10 rebounds, but it was expected for him to be the next scapegoat. Not saying he is great, but other players were way worse this game. Yeah, I didn't say he had a bad game. What I'm saying is, the 2 assists are not going to have me praising the kid. The 25 points in 35 minutes, 53 seconds, it's good, not great. The 5 of 10 shooting from deep is good. All right, 50% shooting, of course that's good. But ultimately, my critique is This guy's always getting the biggest share of the pie minutes-wise, and we're not seeing positive results from that in terms of wins and losses. And Abraham, in terms of the players who were way worse this game, if we don't include injured players who had very shortened runs tonight, Al Horford, calf injury, likely done for the year. Seth Curry, someone in the chat said it was a wrist or a hand injury. Still have no idea what happened there. He just left the game, just went straight to the tunnel. Like, bye. Nice knowing you all. And then there was one other injury. Oh, the Quinn Post also got hurt. So outside of those three guys, who had a worse game than Brandon Podziemski? I don't want to say D'Anthony Melton because Melton played 12 minutes less than Podziemski. So we don't know what the final box score would be for Melton. Melton finished tonight, again, playing 23 minutes, 54 seconds. Unfortunately, we're likely never going to get a fully healthy D'Anthony Melton this year. Still, again, the restrictions are still there. He was listed as questionable on the injury report tonight. Melton, 4 of 11 from the field, 2 of 5 from deep. Made all his free throws. There were only 2 of them, but still made them all. 3 assists, 2 rebounds, 1 steal. 12 points. I'm not going to sit here and say it was worse. I'm not going to sit here and say it was better either. Kind of like on par, neutral. Who played worse than Podziemski tonight? Will Richard. That's a safe one. Will Richard did not have a good game tonight. He just was just non-existent, irrelevant. It's probably one of the worst things you could be as a basketball player. So yeah, you can say Will Richard had a worse game. 29 minutes, 16 seconds, 0 points. We talked about that earlier, though. Pat Spencer played literally half the minutes that Podziemski did. Not a great game. 7 points, 3 assists, 2 boards. GP2 didn't actually have a bad game tonight. Again, played half the minutes Brandon Podziemski did. Was 4 of 8 from the field. Had just 1 3-point attempt. That's good. Missed it, though. But still had 12 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. So I can't really say he was worse than Podziemski. I don't know if you could argue he's better. LJ Cryer tonight. A guy who I wish was getting 35 minutes tonight because that's a dude whose ceiling is undetermined. Could actually excite us a little bit. And playing him would be literally developing him. LJ Cryer, 17 minutes, 8 seconds, less than half of Brandon Podziemski's minutes tonight. 2 of 6 from the field, was 0 of 4 from deep. Normally his 3-point shooting until tonight has been solid, and those were wide open threes. He was set up for almost all of those. So, and a lot of those came up short, which was kind of weird because the team had 2 days off between last game and this game. Cryer, 8 points, 2 boards, no assists, but in a very limited 17 minutes, 8 seconds. I mean, worst, I guess technically you could say that, but again, limited opportunities. And then Malachi Leon's only played 8 minutes, 42 seconds. 6 points, 2 boards, 1 assist, 1 steal, 0 of 2 from deep, 2 of 6 from the field. But again, in just 8 minutes and 42 seconds. So Abraham, I think Will Richard is the only guy I can safely say played worst. I mean, I also can't sit here and say that a lot of dudes have been better, but in terms of worst, I don't really have a lot of names other than Will Richard. What's your comeback to that, Abraham? And why have you been MIA so much? Where are you? What's going on with you? It's like it's someone's opinion I respect and you're barely around. What's going on with you, man? Where you at? Marco Magic defining what bias means. Are there people in our chat who are unfamiliar with the concept of bias, meaning having a favorable opinion or just an opinion that kind of muddles your objectivity? Tommy, $5 donation tonight, saying the Warriors and Stephen Curry will finally get healthy late in the season and will win meaningless games to screw up their lottery position. Book it. Hope you're not right about that. You probably will be right about that, though. Split head 76. Sick. Objectively. Steve Kerr plays Brandon Podziemski too much. I guess we're not going to see the professor tonight. I don't blame him. There just isn't a lot to talk about. Julian Bashir is asking, who was the player of the game? Kristaps Porzingis. His best game as a Warrior, dropped 20 points. Stayed healthy, I think. 20 points in just 19 minutes and 49 seconds. This was just a rough one. This was just rough. Because you couldn't easily make the argument that the Minnesota Timberwolves won this game by the half. And then the only reason why the second half was even competitive is because they took their foot off the gas, just like most teams do with the Warriors, except most teams usually do that at the start of the game. And it allows the Warriors to stay in it from the outset, if not take a lead, forcing the other team to mount a comeback. Tonight, Minnesota showed up from the outset and blew this game open, had a 21-point halftime lead, and then the Warriors made it competitive in the second half, and here we are. But, Tommy, your prediction, I fear, could be very true. And then Abraham DeLeon adding a very interesting tidbit, saying despite the fact that Will Richard has been the scourge of our criticism tonight, he led the team in net rating. That is true. That's incredible. Will that's amazing. And again, that's why individual net rating is one of, if not the most bogus stats you can see in a box score. See, Abraham, this is why I respect your opinion. You come up with a lot of funny shit, insightful information. Keatrig Mitchell saying, where's Armando? Good question. Friendly reminder, if you're a student of his, this episode tonight is all the evidence you need for missing a class and having that shit excused. Hold that over his head. Hamza in the chat saying, what happens if Kerr returns next season? More of this. That's what happens. More of this shit. More of like, except if health permits, meaning if Steph stays actually healthy, and then who knows when Jimmy Butler will come back. I mean, I would imagine best case scenario would be mid-season, but that's why you need a good draft pick. You need something to get excited for next year. Steve Kerr hopefully will only get a year of his toxicity imprinted on this young man who the Warriors draft for, whoever that is. And then we pray that a rebuild starts the year after that. I'm already of the mindset, Hamza, that next year Kerr's back, because I have zero faith in the decision makers with the Golden State Warriors right now. Joe Lacob has lost his goddamn mind thinking that Steve Kerr knows jack shit. Evan Ball, Armando's buddy, saying that Armando's on the way home so he can join. We might not still be on the air by that point. Well, I guess this is a good chance for me to get to one great I haven't even read this email yet, but he writes these really long ones that people usually have a positive reaction to. And I guess let's do it. Let's get this email read. If Armando gets home in time, we'll spend a few minutes with the professor, who's enjoying happy hour on his own time, and respect to him for that. So let's read an email, which you folks may or may not appreciate. Let's open up the mailbag.
Letters. We get letters. We get stacks and stacks of letters.
All right. This email from Tom, who writes, the definition of favoritism. Favoritism is the practice of showing unfair preferential treatment to a person or group based on personal relationships, biases, or likes, rather than merit, qualifications, or objective criteria. It often results in certain individuals receiving advantages, such as promotions, rewards, or favorable assignments, while others are overlooked despite their contributions, leading to perceptions of injustice and reduced morale, especially in workplaces or family settings. The main difference between favoritism and nepotism is that nepotism specifically refers to giving unfair advantages to family members due to kinship, whereas favoritism is a broader term invoking preferential treatment toward anyone based on personal relationships, biases, or likings, not limited to family. In short, nepotism is a form of favoritism, but not all favoritism is nepotism. Is there such a thing as fair favoritism? I'll try to explain. When a coach says Michael Jordan is his favorite player, we all know why. It's fair to say MJ earned and deserved favoritism based on his skill and instant impact as a franchise player in his first year. Stephen Curry's rookie season, 2009-2010, we can all agree he deserved to be Mark Jackson's favorite and later also the captain's favorite. And now, this is for those who will claim that the Warriors were a championship team when they had to draft rookies. Here's a similar example. Shaquille O'Neal, Eddie Jones, Nick Van Exel, Rick Fox, Robert Horry, Derek Fisher. Kobe Bryant was still a rookie. His rookie year, they finished the regular season with a 56-26 record, yet were eliminated in 5 games by Karl Malone and John Stockton's Utah Jazz. In Kobe's second season, they got swept by the same Utah Jazz in the finals, Western Conference Finals. And in Kobe's third year, he got swept by the Spurs in the Western Conference Finals. The coach could not get that roster over the hump. Their greatest achievement ran into the Jazz, where their season got shot down. One can assume the coach had the right pieces but the wrong system. After 3 failed attempts, Del Harris got fired after 12 games in the 99 season, and right after, Phil Jackson was hired, followed by success, with the same core pieces, give or take. The new coach was able to change the system and was able to complement the new duo. Does this sound familiar? Back to the main topic, those affected by favoritism. The reasons for the trips down memory lane is to show the quality of those who deserve to be favored by merit, skill, qualification, and objective criteria. If we look at these 4 bullet points, we can apply that to Michael Jordan, Stephen Curry, Kobe Bryant, and many more, and even proven rookies in their first or second year, despite the franchise's status. There are things that stand out about these favorites. They perform well above average. The eye test immediately leads us to draw comparisons among the greatest in the game. The power of favoritism is in full effect. Anthony Lamb, an undrafted G League player who was the Rockets recruited and played 24 games. Then he played 2 games with the Spurs. Then he earned a 2-way contract playing 62 games with the Golden State Warriors, where he played a whopping 19.2 minutes per game, getting minutes over second-year forward Jonathan Kuminga second-year guard Moses Moody. 3 season, who was drafted 24th overall by the Phoenix Suns, traded to OKC, then went to the G League, ending up with a 2-way contract for the Warriors. He averaged a whopping 18.1 minutes per game as a 2-way player. Also getting minutes over Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, and Guy Santos. When the favorites cards are used, I would like to think that the reason is to achieve a better result over those who are not favorites. Who are not the favorite, In sports, any team chasing the highest result in a season chooses their favorites based on merit, skill, qualification, and objective criteria. Side note, Anthony Lamb is not in the NBA anymore, and Ty Jerome is a role player who's been plagued by injuries and has been traded twice now. Clearly, the NBA criteria for favoritism, which I mentioned earlier, does not apply to them. So why are Kuminga and Moody affected by favoritism in a negative way? It's not skill, it's not qualification, and it's not objective criteria. This rabbit hole gets deeper. Kuminga and Moody drafted in the same year, 2021. Kuminga at 7, Moody at 14. Kuminga played a significant role in the 2022 championship. Ironically, Bob Myers left a year after the championship season. Right after Ty Jerome and Anthony Lamb played over Kuminga and Moody. Why bring that up again, one would ask? Bob Myers saw the beginning of the Flames, a change in the winning formula because of favoritism. He saw the shift in power after the 2022 miraculous championship. That was the exclamation point that ended the dynasty. It handed complete control to the captain leader, who could beat on his chest by saying, quote, "See, I did it my way, my system, most important, my roster. I decided who played, and that resulted in a championship." And there you have it. From that moment moving forward, the Warriors were infected by the virus of favoritism. Let's rewind to pivotal turning points. The captain leader's favorites in 2021, according to many known sources and interviews, were Josh Giddey, who got picked 6th, and Franz Wagner, who was the 8th selection in that draft. Those were his draft choices, but his favorites versus Bob Myers had already shown whose draft choices were the better ones. Before the 2022 championship, the captain leader's biggest draft choice was James Wiseman, which did not pan out. Bob Myers' track record of picking drafts and trading for the right pieces was significantly better than his. Conclusion: we have to go with Myers' choices again. He drafted Kuminga and Moody, 2 players who the captain leader did not want. But then the championship happened. The captain leader gets rewarded with an extension of $35 million over 2 years, while Bob Myers was on a salary of $10 million a season. The front office signals favoritism toward the captain leader. This type of favoritism will allow the captain leader to oversee other departments in the franchise, including the general managers. Little did they know, with Bob Myers' departure, the front office no longer had an experienced independent voice, allowing the captain leader's personal preferences to dominate, transforming the Warriors' culture from one of accountability and talent development to one increasingly shaped by favoritism. As I said earlier, the 2022 championship was the straw that broke the camel's back. The captain leader made sure that we knew if we do things his way, we will win more championships. For the 2022-23 season, the captain leader will now exercise his power by infecting the franchise with favoritism. I'll translate. Hey, Bob, I will play everybody except your draft choices. You did not pick my favorites, so I'm not playing yours. Then the Draymond punch. We're getting there. By now, favoritism has become the standard, infecting everybody in the franchise. However, I do agree with the captain leader standing by his vet player, but at what cost? At what price will this virus continue to dismantle the infected franchise? This was Draymond's punishment for punching, yet again, a young player. Green was not suspended. Instead, he was fined an undisclosed amount and temporarily removed from team activities for about a week. He returns to practice on October 13th and played in the preseason finale and the regular season opener. Basically, the immunity card was used. Conclusion, Jordan Poole was affected by favoritism, and the locker room was now permanently infected. What about Klay Thompson? There is no rings without him. One can honestly say he's the Pippen to Michael Jordan. After the system claimed its second superstar, the first being Kevin Durant, then Klay Thompson suffered the horrible ACL injury. Klay was a two-way player who guarded the toughest star of the opposing team while averaging 21.3 points per game, shooting 46% from the field and 41% from three. Impressive. One would ask, why would he leave his brothers, his team, his franchise? Lots of reasons and speculation are out there, but the ones that are consistent are the following. A contract dispute. They failed to offer him a long-term extension. Instead, they offered him a 2-year, $23 to $24 million extension, which he declined. Klay was not the same anymore. It's debatable whether he deserved that much money or not. However, when a franchise is infected by favoritism, one could ask the question, was Draymond favored over Klay? In July of that same year, Draymond got a 4-year, $100 million long-term extension, a contract I do not think Klay Thompson would have rejected. And Klay had to come off the bench. Klay did not agree to start over a rookie, Podziemski, who does not fulfill the criteria by merit, by skill, by qualification, and by objective criteria. Clearly an unfair gesture toward one of your pillars. So Klay Thompson was affected by favoritism. Podziemski was drafted in 2023, a rookie for the 2023-2024 season. What happened that year? Klay departs. This is Kuminga and Moody's third year, Guy Santos' second year. This was after Ty Jerome and Anthony Lamb left. This was a year after Bob Myers left. Mike Dunleavy Jr., the new GM, trades Jordan Poole for Chris Paul. Do you see the pattern now? 2023-2024 is a full display of the virus of favoritism that's spread throughout all aspects of the franchise, supported and fueled by the leaders of the house of the Golden State Warriors. We can make a solid assumption that Podziemski was the captain leader's draft pick, directly or indirectly. Nevertheless, the captain leader walks with his chest high, saying, quote, "Hey, Bob, I finally chose my favorite pick, and it reminds me of myself. And I'll play him over all of your picks, who I never wanted on my team anyways. Yes, and side note, how dare one of your picks criticize my coaching? I will make sure I make an example out of him. Me and my media buddies are going to make sure he's off the team by the end of his rookie contract. And to those who remain, yes, you, Guy and Moody, you better be happy with whatever is given to you." Unquote. Here are the rookie season minutes from Kuminga, Kobe Bryant, and Brandon Podziemski. Kuminga in his rookie year averaged 16.9 minutes per game. Kobe Bryant in his rookie season averaged 15.5 minutes per game. Brandon Podziemski averaged 26.6 minutes per game. In their second years, Kuminga went up to 20.3 minutes per game. Kobe went up to 26 minutes per game. Brandon Podziemski went up to 26.8 minutes per game. Sorry, I said points, I meant minutes. Let's translate these numbers and put them in context. Podziemski, as a rookie, was already playing starter minutes over Kobe and Kuminga's same years. One can draw the conclusion that Brandon Podziemski from his rookie and second years must be performing greater than those two players in their first two seasons. What do these numbers represent? Moses Moody, Guy Santos, and Jonathan Kuminga are experiencing the effects of the captain leader's unchallenged power. He does not have to make sense. He does not have to explain. He does as he pleases, armed with his immunity card granted by the son of the universe, who orbits in silence in this universe. Within a year of Bob Myers' departure, the favoritism virus spread like wildfire in the House of the Warriors. It infected the culture, corrupting and crippling logic, reason, and moral standards. Currently, the Warriors are not powered by numbers or talent. They're powered by favoritism from the top to the bottom. Let me also say this. I don't personally blame Podziemski. Like most favorites, they will accept both undeserved and deserved favors. Podziemski is an aspiring NBA player, like all young players who try to get into the NBA. Unfortunately for him, the coach's favorites were or are not in the best interest of winning or the future of the franchise. It's based on personal ego, proving a losing point. When power favors a misguided vision, it will stir the required goal into flames. Although a visionary must favor his or her vision to carry out the required task that leads to success. In the case of the Warriors, the visionary, the captain leader, did not favor success. His ego fueled the choices that led to the type of favoritism we see in leaders who are not driven by merit, skill, qualification, or objective criticism, but by a misguided ego. An ego that does not care what the results are as long as the choices made cater to his ego-driven decisions, even if it destroys all in its path. In closing, here is a list of those affected by Steve Kerr's favoritism. Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, Ryan Rollins, Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, Anthony Edwards, Gary Payton II, JaVale McGee, David West, Jordan Poole, Patrick McCaw, James Wiseman, Andrew Wiggins, Jimmy Butler, Guy Santos, Lester Quinones, and much more. You forgot Quindary Weatherspoon in there, but that's okay. The Warriors have to eradicate this virus from the franchise. Will they? Are they too late? Joe Lacob, the house is on fire. Too much damage. It's collapsing. Take cover. Best regards, Tom. God damn. Hell of an email. And now Armando's here.
Hey. What's
Did
up,
you hear
Si?
the email? What was your reaction to that? If you heard it. How you doing?
My reaction was good email, needed to be condensed with AI. But it was a great email. I know that emailer. He's top notch. One of the best we got. One of the best in the business.
How are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Sorry I'm late.
It's again.
Let's have
All good. What I kept saying is if any of your students are watching, they have a full-on hall pass to be late to your class. So
no, they don't.
You have to honor that if they call you out on it. But no, it's all good. But well, I don't know what there is left to cover. So I'll shut up if you have things to talk about. I look, to me, this is depressing as all shit. The house is burning. There is this organization continues to be directionless. Armando, what are your thoughts on everything? Let's start with the game. What did you watch it, and what was your reaction to it if you did?
So, I came here to talk Hawks, Atlanta Hawks basketball.
Okay.
And I got a lot to say. We've been watching them very closely, but I'll spend a little time on the Warriors. You know, when you know, obviously the Milan Cousins, we predicted the Jimmy Butler injury before it happened. And we also called out the Steph Curry knee issue while he was playing some of his best basketball of the year. We looked at the way his gait was running. We're like, something's wrong with that knee. And it looked like he was taking injections. And, you know, when it all went down, when Curry was out and then they traded JK, you know, cousin Andres came on here and said, injury ball's not over. Like, Guy Santos is playing 120%. Moses Moody's playing 120% just to get by, you know, as the trap game. And when you're playing, and one thing that we have said from the beginning, Cy, you need, so the thing is the Hamza types, the Kerr sycophants, the light years people do not know how to watch the game with a fatigue meter in the back of their mind. How hard is the person with the ball having to play in order to get the score, even if they score, and how hard is the defense actually playing? And when you learn to watch the game with a fatigue meter, if you see guys playing 110% and they're doing well, then you know injuries are coming. The fatigue meter runs high. If you can see that they're playing at 80% and they're kicking ass, then you know you got a player. Because when it comes to winning time, then they can go 120%. And there's not a single player on the Golden State Warriors anymore that can win basketball games playing 80%. Not a single one. Not Steph, not Draymond, not Jimmy Butler, not Al Horford, not Melton, not Pods. None of those guys can play 80% and play winning basketball against teams that are playing 100%. Hustle don't matter until it's playoff time when everybody's hustling. Can you level up? And I seen Pods. I seen those guys. What happened to them after that 23-7 run? What happened to them in the playoffs? Pods shot like shit. And if Horford happens to get to the first round, it's going to happen to him too. So, anyways, injury ball's not over. It's not a surprise to us that Moses
Horford's done for the year. That's my prediction right now. I like a guy 39 years old with the calf strain. He's not coming back from that with 16 to play. I mean, if he does, it'll be the very end of the season. But
it's sad, Cy. All these people are like praising Melton, Horford. Oh, it's so good, you know. He's hitting threes in garbage time basketball when the other team doesn't give a shit. The other teams are playing like 60%.
Well, and I brought this up too, like in the same vein that we've talked about trap games, like what the Timberwolves did tonight, I thought, is they actually brought urgency from the outset. They took a 21-point lead into the half, and then they let off the brakes, and that allowed the Warriors to make some noise in the second half. But by the way, look at this email, dude. And I don't know if you agree with that sentiment or not, but when someone writes an email this long, Armando, like this is the top of it. And I read through all this. I can't like not read this whole thing when someone puts this much effort into it. Look at that. The one thing that took me a little aback when reading this, because I agree with everything. Like everything written in this email is what I've been saying for the last like few years now. But I forgot that Podziemski was averaging 26.6 minutes per game his rookie year. Like if that's not evidence right there substantiated of very serious favoritism, I don't know what is. it's wild that Kerr just like is in love with this kid, like loves him like it's his literal biological child, dude. Like it wouldn't surprise me if we found out he loved her more than Nick. Alyssa, it's wild shit, dude. You know, and he's not trying to tank, yet and you hear all these media people who like just are afraid to ever challenge Steve Kerr, so they go out of their way to try to hype him up. They're like, oh, Podziemski's been shooting great lately, or like, do you hear all the rhetoric from different media types when it comes to Podziemski? Like, yeah, Steve Kerr's guy. Well, you know, he does all the little things. He takes charges. He grabs rebounds. Like, it's really crazy shit.
Yeah, Pods is they're trotting out his great stats over the last month or so, and since All-Star break. And Pods, you know, all those Warrior, Hamza, Kerr, Stevie Kerr, Steph Curry fans, you know, they were saying, you know, Kuminga's he's terrible. He's going to be a good stats on a bad team guy.
I mean, who knows? But that was my issue from the start.
It's like, literally the opposite. Podziemski is the good stats on a bad team guy. Like, you're the team that's bad, and he's playing garbage time.
It's crazy, dude. And a huge part of me wonders, like, is Steve Kerr that simplistic where he keeps going to the box score and goes, well, look, I mean, Podziemski has no turnovers and he only committed 2 fouls tonight. He must be playing great defense and he must be a valuable offensively if he's not turning the ball over. I think those are the only 2 stats that reflect good on him, I think, on a consistent basis. Nothing else he does is consistent. Like, he'll have a game like tonight where he was 5 of 10 from beyond the arc, and then he'll follow that up next game in New York with like a 1 for 7 from 3, like a single-digit scoring night. And side note for all the Draymond Green haters out there, and that populace is growing, I found another negative for him not playing. When Dre doesn't play, Kerr leans on Podziemski even more, because I think a huge thing of Steve Kerr is when it comes to his beloved non-biological child is he sees him as dollar store Dre, Timu Dre, like a mini Dre, like a guy who does everything, right? He's getting boards, but the defense is clearly not there. And I will say this about in terms of a compliment, the Splithead writes in the chat, it's the one thing that I do think he deserves praise for, Brandon Podziemski, and that is durability. That dude, he's played in every game this season. The only injury he's ever that's ever affected him was the busted nose that he had, I think, in a year 2, where he wore the mask. And look, that's deserved. That is respect. You give thumbs down to that. But I mean, why do you give a thumbs down to that? Because durability is a positive attribute. Would you not agree?
In this case, the worst possible thing that happened to the Warriors is that Brandon Podziemski does not get hurt. It's the worst possible thing. We were literally, rooting in the beginning of this year if Brandon Podziemski could just get hurt before Steve Kerr went away from Kuminga and he stopped tanking their games and forcing them to play into the fourth quarter. If he could just get hurt, then this team would have a chance to win a championship. It's literally the opposite.
I like Marco Magic in the chat saying, you can't get injured if you don't jump. Ask Andre Miller. Was Andre Miller durable? Now I got to look him up because
you can't get injured if the refs protect you. But it's the worst possible thing that he's actually injury free. And also, Cy, it's actually not true. Last year, Brandon Podziemski quit on the Warriors 3 separate times and faked an injury because he wasn't good enough to be on the court last year. So he's not. In the beginning of last year, he had his little psychological problem. He said in The Athletic he had to go see a shrink at UC Berkeley. That was from him, his quote. And then we saw him when Luka Doncic laughed at him in the 3-point quarter, and he drove baseline. He took himself out of the game. And then a third time I can't remember right now. So,
why do I have no recollection of Brandon Podziemski having psychological issues? Is that for real?
Yes. Look it up.
I have no memory of that. Forgive me I'm not saying you're lying at all. I mean, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know why I have no recollection of that.
Yeah,
Did
and
he
then
miss
remember he was
games or,
out
like,
for months. He was out for months and months and months, and then it was like a mysterious thing. And then eventually Celebrini said, "Oh, we're teaching him how to walk or how to run again. He has like an abdomen issue." Do you remember that? It was like a total mystery why he was out, and then they invented that. Pods took himself out because his mind wasn't right.
Holy shit. Yeah, you're I mean, I'm looking it up right now just to uh
You know,
and
it's just crazy the goldfish memory in the Bay Area bubble. Like, you know, it's so ridiculous. You know, no fan was critiquing or asking why was Brandon Podziemski out for so long last year, for so long. And then eventually they had to say, Celebrini, quote unquote, we are teaching him how to run again. What an effing joke, dude. You know, Cy, it's kind of like when you're playing pickup game and the competition is so high, you kind of know that you should not be on the court and you're hurting your team. And actually, we freaking laughed because we were like, you know, kind of kudos to him for stepping off the court and, you know, admitting he shouldn't be on there and like asking out of the game. Like that takes a lot of courage, man. I appreciated that. Best thing Paz could do is be courageous and go play in a different league. He should do that.
yeah, and what you're referring to was Podziemski in his sophomore, I guess just last year. That's because this is this year 3 or 4 for him? It's year 3? What is it? Is it year 3? Hold on. What? Anyways,
Who cares? Garbage time.
his sophomore season, this headline says Podziemski fought against mental demons. And he apparently went and visited the Golden State Warriors psychiatrist. Hold on a second. I don't know why I missed. Part of the reason why I think I missed this is because it was published in The Athletic, and I just don't read The Athletic's content.
UC Berkeley psychologist. He said that.
Well, the team's mental coach. I don't know if that's the UC Berkeley guy you're talking about, Dr. Craig Chow or Dr. Greg Chow. Greg spelled Graig. Dr. Greg Chow. I don't know if that's the Berkeley guy you're talking about, but apparently Podziemski spoke to him, and this is the part that makes this all feel so disingenuous. It's what made Podziemski realize he has a long way to go in his career is, quote, I think my biggest struggle I would not call that a demon. I would not call that a mental anything. I just
you froze.
What is going on here? I don't. Dude,
you froze.
Everything about this guy just is weird. It's just befuddling.
Cyrus, you
Yes.
froze. You need to repeat that. You froze.
Oh, I froze. I apologize. Just I guess because the whole coverage of Brandon Podziemski's quote unquote mental issues, whatever those were, his mental challenges. In this New York Times story, the doctor you were talking about. Oh, I fucking closed it. Sorry. Here it is. It was Dr. Greg Chow, and Greg is spelled Graig. So it's not Craig, it's Greg Chow. But this is the part that makes this whole thing feel very disingenuous. As I mentioned a moment ago, sorry if I got cut off. The mental challenges were wanting more and wanting to achieve more. Like that's a mental struggle. Wanting more and wanting to achieve more. That's the inner demon. I mean, was the psychologist or psychiatrist laughing at him for that? I mean, is he? If a patient came to a psychiatrist's office and said, "I'm having difficulties mentally," and the doctor's like, "Yeah, what's going on? What's wrong with you?" And the person said, "I want too much. I want more and want to achieve more." I don't know. That doesn't seem very serious to me. What's your reaction to that? That's the mental challenge. Is that
my reaction is
he basically wasn't achieving the standards that he was setting for himself. I wouldn't exactly call that an issue. I don't know. What's your take on that?
My reaction is this whole team is totally irrelevant, and it was totally predictable.
Yes.
And this is all garbage time ball.
Yes.
They're just selling you hope to get season tickets next year. And anybody any Hamza type that believes in it is a total joke. So can we talk about the Atlanta motherfucking Hawks or the draft pick? Because that's what the people want to hear. And this is a real team that is developing and has a lot of fun things and aspects to do, and they haven't figured it out. And I'm so effing excited to discuss
with the Atlanta
how
Hawks.
good the Hawks are.
Well,
how good they can be. They're struggling. They are struggling.
Who, the Hawks?
They got a lot of things to work out. They need a lot of synergy to do. It's so fun to watch their coach and their best players problem solve and play the best players on the court. And I got so much to say about their roster top to bottom.
I don't disagree with you that they're a very exciting team and their ceiling is right now limitless. I don't understand why you're saying they're struggling. They've won 8 in a row.
Yeah.
Well, why are you saying they're struggling?
Because it's all practice. Those teams are not very good, and they're practicing. They are. This is a team, Cyrus, that understands its 5 best players. They have a death lineup, and the death lineup doesn't have synergy, and they're developing how to play offense with that death lineup, because that death lineup will be impossible to score upon. And that's what I mean by struggling, is they perceive their ceiling and they have a lot to work on. And it's really freaking exciting to see them work on it rather than, hey, it's not working for 2 plays, get it out, bench the guys, and let's just play our worst players because it feels better.
Well, that comes down ultimately to a difference between a good coach and a bad coach. I mean, Quinn Snyder is someone who I've always had respect for, and he must be just out of his mind, filled with exuberance over this roster he has right now. It's very exciting. There's no doubt about that. I look, and we can talk about the Hawks. We can talk about anything we want, but your cousin brought up something that I think is very pertinent, and I should have highlighted that chat comment, but he said he's doing research on the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And one question I have, which I think would serve a great deal for the audience, is who's available in that 8 through 11 range? Let's say the Warriors continue down this trend where, and I talked about this before you came on, Armando, that to me, the ideal goal is to finish as the 10th worst team in the NBA. I think that's the best you can do in terms of tanking. And what I mean more specifically by that is right now, if the season ended today in terms of records, the Warriors are still better than, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They're better than 11 other teams. And I think they could even leapfrog. I think they could even finish worse than Portland. And I think they could finish worse than Milwaukee. So, and what would happen there is if they did manage to lose more games than those two, they would finish with the 10th worst record. So absolute worst case scenario, they finish with the 11th pick. And the reason why I say 11th is because if one of the 11 through 14 teams somehow wins the draft lottery, they would actually leapfrog ahead of the Warriors, and the Warriors would be pushed back a spot. So worst case scenario, 11th pick. Best case scenario, top 4 pick. Most likely scenario, you pick where you finish, which would be again 10th worst if we're going down this specific exercise here in terms of hypotheses and so forth. Who are the best picks? That part I don't know. Do you have any idea? Who are the guys in that 8 through 12 range that the Warriors could get, who could be either a game changer immediately or someone that could eventually turn into something special? Do you have information on that or no?
For sure. So one, Darius Acuff from Arkansas is a 6'3" point guard, floor general. This guy's bad, man. Woo, baby. And he might drop because all the nerds are into this point guard, Kingston Flemings, who's not as good. Darius Acuff, I mean, just think of like a better Darren Fox. He's better than Darren Fox. And he has more vision, and he's a floor general leader, 19 years old. Nate Ahmet, 6'10", freshman at Tennessee, man.
Now you're talking.
Ooh, baby, 6'10", and think he's coming off a knee injury, so he slipped. But like people aren't that worried about that knee injury because he's 19. And think like who's that center from the Pistons?
Jalen Duren.
Yes, physical beast that has gravity just from straight up physical force presence. Any of those guys right now would be better than anybody on the Warriors roster next year. Like, those are just two guys. So the other people you need to look at is Keaton Wagler, 6'6", 19 years old. I highly Andres is correcting me. My bad. I'm thinking of Jaden Quittance from Kentucky. My bad. Not Ahmet. He's the guy I meant with this knee problem. He's younger. He's like 18. My bad. But Cy, are we gonna see the Warriors for the first time in the play-in history, two teams in a tank-off in the play-in game? We saw last year, Cy, remember the Mavs tanked on purpose in the play-in game? Are the Warriors going to be in a situation where they're trying to lose the play-in against their opponent who is also trying to lose?
I don't think the Warriors are going to try and lose anything as long as Steve Kerr is the head coach. I believe that. I really think that Steve Kerr is out there trying to win every game, regardless of what makes most sense logically. Now, with that said, if it ends up being, first of all, I think the Warriors will finish hopefully as the 10 seed, but no better than the 9 seed. I don't think the Clippers are going to fall back down. So the way I'm looking at the way the standings look right now, it feels like a very safe bet that your 7 seed will be Phoenix, your 8 seed is going to be the Clippers, and that those are the two teams who will go into the postseason. And then 9 and 10 will be Portland or the Warriors, depending on the order. And what I'm saying is the smart move for the Warriors would be to finish 10th. So that regardless of what happens beyond there, like your draft positioning is higher than Portland, and you have a better chance of getting a ping pong ball in the draft lottery and getting a top 4 pick. Your question, are we going to see two teams that have zero interest in winning? Again, this is where I think Steve Kerr is that dense, where he will try to win the game. What I don't know, Armando, and I don't know if you have the answer to this, is if the Warriors beat Portland in that first game, and then let's say they have to face the Clippers in the second game.
They're not beating Portland.
But let's say they do, just for the sake of argument here. Okay, devil's advocate for a second. Let's say the Warriors beat Portland in the first game, but then they lose the second game. So they're out. They're not going to make the playoffs regardless. Does that vault them ahead of Portland in the draft?
Yeah.
Or does it still go back to the records?
Well, it depends if Portland wins their second game, right? If they
Portland wouldn't have a second game. That's what I'm trying to say. Like whoever loses the 9-10 game is just out, right?
Right.
So let's say the Warriors beat Portland.
No, I don't know the answer to that. Yeah, that's a good question.
I think it still goes by record. I think. Julian Bashir is saying it's not about records, it's about seeding, but there is no seeding when you're not in the postseason, right? So what I'm asking here is, like, let's say the Warriors and the Trailblazers, they both missed the postseason, but they're both play-in teams, and the Warriors happen to beat Portland in the play-in game. That win would not count for anything. It's one of the more funkier statistical anomalies about the NBA. The play-in counts as a nothing statistically. The wins and losses don't count for anything. The stats you put up count for nothing. There, except just your record in a play-in. That's it. The play-in is just like its own weird thing. It doesn't count for the postseason. It counts for nothing. It's a really bizarre, again, statistical anomaly. But I think that regardless of what happens in that playing game, it's going to come down to regular season records. And all I want is just the Warriors to finish with the worse record than Portland. And I think they're going to be okay with that. Anyways.
Hey, Cy, do you remember 4 year? No. In 2021, with a fully healthy Steph Curry, a fully healthy Draymond Green, and an Andrew Wiggins that just came back. This is the year before the title.
And Michael Mulder. Don't forget Mulder and Brad Wanamaker.
They had these stars that you're talking about right now. They had them 6 years younger. They lost in the play-in.
Correct. Twice.
Yeah. Do you remember last year? They lost the first game in the play-in to the Clippers.
I do.
And do you remember last year when they were losing the game to the Memphis
They shouldn't have been they shouldn't have been a play-in team last year. That is one of a million failings on Steve Kerr's part. And believe me, we'll talk about all that and so much more when we finally do our when Steve Kerr's gut went wrong episode. But yeah, it was a colossal failing. It was the Warriors should have been a 6 seed. They should have been playing the Lakers in the first round. That would have been the easiest out imaginable. Instead, you're right. They finished 7 because they lost that late game, late regular season game, lost a series of them because Steve Kerr, again, the genius, thought he knew best and he did not. And what was your point? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, I don't really understand why these true believers think that a Steph Curry-led team in 2026 is some guarantee to win a play-in game.
I don't know.
And
by the way, Raider Tupac in the chat saying the play-in does count for the postseason. No, it doesn't. Not in terms of stats. Those numbers do not roll over. Those numbers do not stay in your record. They literally go poof. Except for like if you play another play-in game some year. I'm sure somebody's keeping track of that. But those stats just stay in their own category. They don't count for the postseason. They don't count for the regular season. They just are their own playing stats. It's a really, really weird setup, but that's how it works. Anyways, I'm sorry to digress. But so let's talk about the Hawks since the Warriors are apparently like they're completely uninteresting. Actually, before we do that, real quick. You want to go through the Warriors schedule real fast?
Sure.
Because there's only 16 left.
I don't want to, but it's your show, so I'll go with you.
Well, no, just and then we can talk Hawks. I just want to finish on this note. And it's not, I don't want to be controlling, man. If you don't want to touch on it, we won't. Just because technically it's but I want to do this exercise because I want to know realistically like where the Warriors can end up. They're currently, again, they're 32-34, 2 games below 500 currently. The only other season where they were this bad was 2019-20 in the Steve Kerr era. So where can they finish? Because I saw someone in the chat say they're going to win 6 out of the remaining 16. And let's find out if that's true. Here we go. Okay. So they're going to play the Knicks Sunday. I'm going to guess that's a loss, right?
I don't know. Could be a trap game. Warriors are the trap game. You never know.
I know you're right. You're right. But okay, but just to simplify the exercise, let's just try to apply common sense and ignore the trap stuff. So they're likely going to lose to the Knicks Sunday. They better beat Washington Monday. They're going to lose to Boston. They're going to lose to Detroit. They're going to lose to the Hawks. They'll beat Dallas. They'll beat Brooklyn. They'll beat Washington at home. So they count 4 losses there so far, but also some wins.
So, Si.
Well, again, this is just a general exercise. These are not hard predictions.
The Nets and the Dallas Mavericks are a better team than the Golden State Warriors.
Fair, but let me do this exercise in this manner. Let's go by whether or not the Warriors will be favored or underdogs in these games. All right, they're going to be an underdog against the Knicks. They'll be favored against the Wizards. They'll be underdogs at the Celtics, at Detroit. I'm going to guess at Atlanta. I don't see them being underdogs against the Mavericks. I don't see them being underdogs at home against Brooklyn and Washington. Would you agree or no?
You're boxing me into whether they're favored on paper. But the thing is, they lost to the Pelicans, the Bulls, and the Jazz.
You're right. Again, this is just a very broad exercise. This is like you teaching sociology 101, right? We're not getting into specifics. We're not focusing on nuance.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to get at,
yeah,
I understand what you're trying to do, but the thing is, when a team is this bad, you cannot predict game-to-game performance. That's why you get out of betting on them, because I'm just trying to scouting report on it. They're literally playing G Leaguers.
I know. I'm just trying to prognosticate where the Warriors are going to finish up this season, realistically. And I don't see them winning at Denver. I don't see them beating the Spurs. I don't see them beating Cleveland. I don't see them beating Houston. I do see them maybe beating Sac. So that's 8 losses there. I don't see them beating the Lakers. That's 9 losses. And their regular season finale is going to be at the Clippers. So if my math is correct, based solely on games the Warriors will be favored in and games the Warriors will be underdogs in, they should finish out the season 6-10.
So of these games you have on the screen, they're definitely beating Sacramento twice, because Sacramento is tanking on purpose really, really hard.
Yeah, and I counted those as wins, yeah.
And they're going to win some of these games. Denver, I think the way to figure it out, Cy, is are any of these playoff teams in playoff positioning fights, or are they just settled where they're at?
Oh yeah, I think everybody is outside of unless even OKC is fending off the Spurs for home court throughout. I mean, I don't the Lakers are going to be fighting for home court. Houston, Cleveland, San Antonio.
Is Cleveland actually fighting for home court? Are they? We need to look at the standings. Yeah,
you're right. Let's do that real quickly.
You see what I'm saying? Are those teams going to be resting, or are they fighting for playoff positioning?
See, and Cleveland right now is only a game and a half behind the Knicks, 2.5 behind the Celtics for fighting with them. And then you have the Magic slowly creeping up behind them. Maybe Miami slowly creeping up. Good question. The Cavaliers may or may not be fighting for something at that point. In the West, I do think they're all going to care. The Spurs might be the only one that won't have a vested interest, because right now they have a 7-game lead over Houston for the 2 seed. But
look at that. Rockets, Lakers, Nuggets, Timberwolves. Look how close that is.
Exactly.
Wow. So those are all losses.
Well, and look at Phoenix is only 2 games back of the Nuggets and the T-Wolves for the 5-6 seed. So you're really looking at 5 teams here just all clustered, just battling for who's going to be home and who's going to be away for that first round series. Exciting shit. And we'll be live almost daily during the postseason, even though the Warriors will almost certainly not be active. We'll still be on the air. Who knows how many people will show up. We'll still be on the air. Yeah. Yeah. What's up?
Did you guys cover the Slater report today that insinuated that Steph Curry is not coming back?
Yes. And what I added on that, Armando, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this. My feeling is that if Stephen Curry is in fact shut down for the rest of the year, first of all, I think it's ludicrous that you're pretending that somehow if you shut him down the rest of the year, that knee's going to get healthy and then he'll be ready to go next season. He's going to be 38 going on 39. Who's to say his other knee's not going to act up? Who's to say he's not going to pop a hammy or something? He's old. This is what happens when athletes get old, man. Their bodies break down. You can't rely on these guys anymore. Nonetheless, I covered that briefly just to rehash. Anthony Slater on today's ESPN Hoops Collective said that the Warriors may be taking a very precautionary approach with Stephen Curry, given that if he comes back too soon, the issues with the runner's knee could turn into something far more serious. And my hunch here, Armando, is that the Warriors are going to be, their hope this offseason, I think, is to try and convince LeBron James to come to the team sign for a deal that's, below market value, like either a mid-level exception or a veteran minimum, which would be far more ideal. So you can even add more help to this team. But that's my guess. Like Stephen, like Mark Spears backtracked a little bit on his comments that Steph is anticipating a big star joining the team this offseason. He backtracked on that today and said that's just what he thinks. And it's not necessarily what Steph or anyone else told him per se. But that would be my guess. If I'm trying to read the tea leaves here, is that they're gonna cross their fingers and hope that LeBron James will come to the Warriors next season. And then Steph and LeBron can have some sort of like last dance run where they try to each get a fifth championship and then cement their legacies in that manner. That to me is a massive pipe dream. I don't see LeBron. I mean, I could be wrong. My prediction is I don't think LeBron's coming to the Warriors. That sounds awkward. I can't even picture it. But what do you think about all this craziness?
What makes you think? What makes you so? What's your hunch? Is it based off intel you have, or just reading the tea leaves? Like, what makes you think that LeBron's coming?
Well, multiple reporters that I trust in this media game. There are a lot of people coming out saying that LeBron's time with the Lakers is over, right? And so, if that's true, and these are I've heard this from a lot of people that the LeBron Lakers era is going to be over after this year. Right. So it leads to, I think, one of three conclusions. Either LeBron's going to retire, he's going to go back to Cleveland, or he's going to go to the Warriors. And there have been people, and LeBron himself has said, and there are sources out of his camp, and I'm guessing Rich Paul is probably the main guy leaking this, is that LeBron has pointed out the Warriors as a team he would play for. So, and I don't know, man. I guess
just reading tea leaves. My reaction to that is, if the Warriors actually do that, will the Hamza, Stevie Kerr, Steph Curry, heliocentric Steph Curry true believers finally admit that they're just selling hype and tickets? They're not trying to win. Would they finally cop to that if they actually managed to sign LeBron?
No, because they'd be all in on a fifth championship. They'd spin that as this is the last dance, and we have a team that can win a title.
But we, as people who have freaking eyeballs and are not blind, would know that that is a joke and it's just selling hype. So would the Hamza types admit that all they're doing is selling tickets and hype?
No. For the same reason that they're not admitting now that this team is going nowhere and that Brandon Podziemski sucks. It's just going to be more smoke screens. It's going to be more PR spin. And you're going to see on like, for example, when you walk to Chase Center and you see that huge ass screen in Thrive City, that thing is going to have Steph and LeBron. And then below them, it's going to have Dre and Jimmy Butler. And you're going to have a theme of fifth championship. Let's go. That's my my prediction for how.
I guess that's true, Cy. Like, remember I was on the show. I came on Tuesday night or something like that, and I was telling about the casuals that I met at the bar, and it was like an old lady. She was like happy. She was like rooting for Pods and overtime. I guess people like that, the Hamza types, would be totally like, just, oh yeah, we have LeBron, it's going to be fun, right? And then they're not actually like watching the games. It's just correct. It's just something you sort of say to other
exactly.
Hamza,
yes.
Hamza. Well, from one Hamza to another.
I mean, I will say this though, Armando, if that does happen, I will have zero expectations, because truth is, man, like a 42-year-old LeBron, 39-year-old Steph, they're not winning a championship. I don't think they can even stay healthy enough to make that a serious pursuit. But at least we'll have an interesting season of Warriors basketball. All signs do indicate the end of 2027 is the finish line. I guess that's what I'm clinging to in terms of maybe this being something that could be at least interesting. I don't know, but
I think, Sai, if you think about the narrative they're going to sell. Oh, we signed LeBron for a minimum, and he's going to play. And Jimmy Butler, 37-year-old Jimmy Butler is going to come back from a knee injury, and he's such a hard worker, and he's a drill guy, and Jimmy's going to come and bring it, and we're just building to Jimmy coming back. That's what they're going to sell all year.
Correct.
And the Hamza types are going to sell that to the other Hamza types.
Hamza's been coming around, actually. He's actually I haven't seen him post anything that's out of left field or is, just buying into all the Warriors marketing lately. I think he appreciates the noun that his name's turned into a noun. But all right, do you want to? But yeah, that's my prediction, or not a prediction. That is something that I think is on the table for the Warriors next year. I think there is virtually zero chance in hell that Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to come here next year. Although it wouldn't surprise me if the Warriors make another run at that, which to me at this point would be a horrible scenario. Could you imagine if the Bucks actually agree to that trade and the Warriors send off 4 first-round draft picks so they can get a Giannis Antetokounmpo who right now can't even get his current Bucks team out of the play-in? I'm sorry, he can't even get his team into the play-in. And that's the guy who you think is going to come to the Warriors and like salvage this shit? I don't like it's. I actually, as weird as this may sound, Armando, I think the Warriors next year would have a better shot with a 42-year-old LeBron than a 32-year-old Giannis. I really do. I think they're both just desperate moves. Realistically, I don't think either move does anything. At least with Giannis, you have a future with him, so you can build around him. But you're also sacrificing all of your draft picks to get him. It's a mess. They need to just rebuild. That's realistically what they need to do. But they're just, they're milking the nostalgia train and every penny they can make out of that.
I think the Warriors, they're going to try to get Giannis with their 4 draft picks
and a swap. Yeah. And
maybe they're trying to get Kawhi Leonard because of that pending punishment. But why would Giannis do that? He's already in a situation that it has no chance and doesn't have any draft picks. But the only difference is he's in the East. He has a chance in the East. And if he comes to the Warriors, so he's going to play 1 year with 38-year-olds. No, he'll be 39-year-old Steph Curry, who's expected to play 82 games.
I don't think it's happening.
Come on.
I don't think it's happening. I'm just sitting here telling you like what the fantasy is for the Warriors in terms of best case scenarios for them next season. And when I say them, I mean more specifically Joe Lacob and Mike Dunleavy Jr. My guess is that's what is on their agenda, and I still have no idea what their agenda is for 2027 when supposedly they're aiming for a clean slate. But I'm with you. Like some people are clinging to the idea that because Giannis Antetokounmpo attended Stephen Curry's All-Star game party 2 years ago as the only non-Warrior member to attend the only non-Warriors player to attend the party. You have a lot of people taking from that. Well, he's, they have a relationship and who knows, but
Cyrus,
I'm with you. I don't think Giannis is coming.
I hope and pray that Steve Kerr gets access to Giannis and that we get to see the amazing new system that he builds for the excellent, great passer that is Giannis. And I really, really hope we get to just see Steve Kerr work so hard and see all his due diligence on integrating Steph Curry and Giannis into and Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler into just a fantastic system. Like it'll be so fun to watch him try to integrate those guys. It'll be good. I can't wait.
Yeah,
should definitely do that.
Rocco Clock in the chat saying that no one brought that up, just me. Not true. Mark Spears and the Warriors cheerleaders at 95.7 The Game, they were the ones who actually said all this today. So nice attempt at bullshit, but it was just that. So no, I'm not just I never just make shit up. Rocco Clock. Apparently you're relatively new here, but no, I don't just pull things out of my ass. This was literally discussed earlier today Mark Spears is now a paid contributor for 95.7 The Game. So you're going to be seeing him a lot with that radio station. And that is what he said today on their drive time show. So take that for what it's worth. Are you ready? Is it Hawks time?
Baby, it's been Hawks time. It is the Hawks era. It ain't Hawks time.
All right. and one last thing before we touch on Hawks and then we'll wrap it up. Have you had a chance to look at who's out there for free agents for next season?
No.
Because I saw Armando, your favorite audience member, Barber, I'm being facetious saying that, mentioned that the goal here is just to try and get the best possible help you can find for Stephen Curry. And that's why like all these things are being explored. And if that's true, then I'm curious to know who the hell is going to actually be out there next year as unrestricted free agents. Do you want me to give you some names?
Sure.
Now, it's very important to know that the Warriors next season are going to be above the cap. So the only money they can spend is going to be the mid-level exception, which I think they're going to be eligible for. And last year that was something like 15 million. So, and that number goes up, and that number goes up a little bit year after year. So let's say that the Warriors have 16 million to spend. Armando, you could tell me with some of these names, A, whether or not you think it's realistic, B, whether or not that realistic a variable is also applicable in terms of affordability and interest from the other party. So LeBron James is the most notorious unrestricted free agent for next year. We talked about that a lot. Does Tobias Harris move the needle for you at all?
Probably couldn't afford him, yeah.
You might be right. So 15, 16 million will not be enough. Does John Collins move the needle? I did not realize until just now that he only turns 29 next year.
I like John Collins. He's a good player.
What about Anthony Simons?
I like him, but there's a reason he's getting bounced around the league, yeah. I don't know why that is.
Good
Probably
point.
Defense.
Celtics fans loved him when he was there. Now he's currently with the Bulls. He will be an unrestricted free agent. Nikola Vucevic.
Yeah, they should sign Nikola Vucevic. Definitely.
This name I don't think the Warriors are going to be able to afford, but I'll mention it anyways. Norm Powell.
No, Norm's great. True West Coast player. Love Norm.
But he's probably going to be out of the Warriors price range. This name, I don't think it's realistic because he hates Draymond Green, but I'll mention it anyways. I love the man. The Senator, Harrison Barnes.
Good. Both of these players, Norman Powell and Harrison, have turned the corner on age, though. They're not going to be who they were.
True. I no doubt about that. I'm just wondering if it's realistic to even add them. And then there's the whole age factor.
You don't win anything without youth and athleticism. Anybody they sign that's over 31, 32, forget about it. Not helping them. It's just hype.
But you got to think like Steve Kerr thinks, right? Like Kerr doesn't think that way. Like to him, a 39-year-old Al Horford was a good idea. So you got to factor that in too, right? I don't think age is an impediment here. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying we have to factor in the utter irrationality of the Warriors in making these decisions. This name excites me a lot, but I also don't think the mid-level exception would be enough, and that's Rui Hachimura, who is only 28 years old. I thought he was maybe a little older, but any chance of Rui, Armando?
How old is he? How old is he?
He just turned 28, so he turns 29 next year in the middle of it.
He would be great. He would be great. I mean, he would be a starter level player for the the Warriors, but don't really see how they'd be able to afford him.
Yeah. And then he gets really thin after that. There's like Robert Williams III, if you want to roll the dice on him. There's like the Matisse Tybalt types. There's I don't think Mo Wagner is going to be available because he wants to stay with his brother. Gabe Vincent, Luke Kennard, Quentin Grimes, Kelly Oubre Jr., Simone Fontecchio, Io Desunmu, who we just saw tonight playing with the Minnesota Timberwolves and not doing bad. Dean Wade, Gershon Yazubeli. Stop me if any of these names even move the needle for you. Kevin Love. Tim Hardaway Jr., Larry Nance Jr., and now it's getting really bad. I think what this little exercise has revealed is that free agency will not give you answers.
I'll tell you what, side they're going to have a great shot at re-signing Melton. Actually,
yeah,
the Warriors are putting out there that he's going to be such a desirable guy because he's so great. No, he's not. He's not good. And he's not that healthy, and they're actually he's going to be begging to sign. There'll be some narrative side. There'll be a Marcus Thompson article about how Melton is choosing to stay for a pay cut with the Warriors because he loves the Celebrini ecosystem and he's so healthy here. And it's going to be this thing where he took a pay cut to stay with the Warriors. No, he's just not going to get the contract offer. It's not that good. Easy to see.
Well, I just went through pretty much all the names that are even remotely attractive. There's a lot more, but we're talking about Javon Carter, Jordan Goodwin, Mike Conley, Campaign. Like maybe the best name that I haven't mentioned is Keon Ellis, and even him, I don't know if that moves the needle at all. Yeah, it's slim pickings.
Let me get Julian wants to hop on. I like Julian. It's been a long time. Julian,
where is he? Oh well. Let's shift to the Hawks. I love Julian too. Julian, you're our boy. But we're like 2 hours in, or at least I'm 2 hours in. And we need to start wrapping up here. But let's talk Hawks.
Podziemski's contract. They're gonna resign Podziemski.
Yeah, because he's on the rookie deal and he's cheap. And
what a joke! No, they're gonna overpay him. Cy.
Well, no. He's gonna play for whatever the rookie deal is. So it's not gonna be an overpay because he's only gonna get what the CBA allows the Warriors to give him, and I don't think the Warriors would just exercise a contract extension now. If they did, they're effing idiots. They're absolutely stupid assholes.
I want the Hamza types to get the Steve Kerr extension, the Melton max contract, the Horford extension to 42, and the Podziemski $25 million a year. I want the Hamzas to just lay in the bed, man. Just be in it. Just eat that bed up. Eat that night Stevie Kerr, Steph Curry, heliocentric bed up. Just make it.
And he's signed. So Podziemski is he's signed through the end of next year, and he's going to get $5.7 million for the 2026-2027 season. He's also eligible to sign an extension this offseason. And if the Warriors give him an extension, like I said, they are dummies. They're stupid assholes. I don't know what else to say about that. Like you are absolute buffoons if you give this guy a huge extension because no one else is going to offer him anything. Yeah. Anyways, all right. So the Atlanta Hawks, we talked about already. We could revisit this, but like they do have a death lineup, and I think you and I already talked about this. And let me know if you agree with the 5 players who represent their death lineup: Dyson Daniels, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jonathan Kuminga, Jalen Johnson, Ankea Okongwu. Would you agree or disagree? Your thoughts?
Oh yeah. That team, that lineup, Cy, man, if they need to build some synergy together, if they can get that half-court offense working, they don't even need a half-court offense. It'll be so good defensively. Just semi-transition. That's the ceiling lineup. It's not working yet, but they're playing it at the end of second quarters, and they're playing it in the beginning of fourth quarters, and they're trying to develop it. And it is so refreshing to see that happen. And I just want to remind Warriors fans, we had Steph Curry, Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, Andrew Wiggins, and Draymond Green, and we did not play them together ever.
Ever. This past season, they didn't play Steph, Kuminga, Butler, Dre, and Moody once. You pointed that out first. Respect for that. That's embarrassing, man. But Steve Kerr, the genius, bro.
I just want to talk about some things I've seen on the Atlanta Hawks, and it just is so refreshing. I'm so optimistic about it, and it's just really fun to see a team have some self-awareness, Cy. And so for one thing, there was a moment in the Atlanta Hawks broadcast last night when the sideline reporter basically reported that, Jonathan Kuminga is having a lot of fun hanging out with his team off the court, that they spend a lot of time together off the court. And then he said that Jonathan Kuminga is just, what's that?
At Magic City?
No, probably not. Probably not.
I'm kidding. I don't know.
But
that's where I would be hanging out.
That Jonathan Kuminga,
some lemon pepper wings,
is in the ears of all the players when he's not on the court, been injured. And he's even going up to the coach and telling the coach what he sees in his ears. And the coach is having dialogue with him about strategy. And that, Cy, that came to mind because one, when Jonathan Kuminga plays on the Hawks, it's very obvious that he's an actual floor general out there. He's telling everyone where to be and where to attack, even if he's not involved in the play.
What I gleaned, Armando, what I gleaned from what you just said is that Quinn Snyder, unlike Steve Kerr, actually communicates with his players. Like you just said that they talk. Mm-hmm. That's more than what you could say about Steve Kerr, who either texts his players or doesn't do anything. So props to Quinn Snyder for just actually understanding the very basic and highly effective concept we call interpersonal communication. Respect to Quinn Snyder for that. Sorry to interrupt you.
The other thing that I really noticed about the last few teams that they play with this all wing lineup. Do you remember, Cy, when the Warriors used to play wings? And they would actually give up penetration a lot, when they had Sean Livingston and Clay, when Clay was actually good, and when they had Andre Iguodala, and they would give up penetration, but the opposing teams would miss a lot at the rim. I think they had the highest percentage of missed rim shots. Do you remember that, Cy?
I do. Yeah.
I'm starting to notice that about the Hawks. Like they'll give up penetration and the other teams are missing at the rim, and it's because of the effect of wings. And that's one of the gross miscalculations of Steve Kerr on Moses Moody, is benching him for giving up penetration. When you have length, it scares guys. The thing that I've noticed about Jonathan Kuminga, especially last night, the excellent game he played. So he had 2 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists. That was one of his. I love that game from Jonathan Kuminga. It was so good, man. That's what's so crazy about Jonathan Kuminga, Cyrus, is he didn't need to be featured as a featured guy in the Warriors. He just needed fucking minutes, and they would have
all he needed. That's it.
They would have just blown up. And he's out there, Cy. Scoring was the last thing on his mind, and he actually is the exact opposite of what Kawakami and Steve Kerr and all those guys said, that he's some shot hungry guy, that he just is like an Allen Iverson shot guy. And, anyways, he's pass first, get the guys. And what's number one on his mind? Defense and rebounding.
Yeah.
I kid you not, Cy. His help defense is some of the best I've seen him play of recently. His ability to step forward off on the help situation and to switch off the pick and roll as a help man. It's very, very nice. And it's so refreshing to see. And Cyrus, he played such a good game last night, and all the Steve Kerr, Hamza, Podziemski, Steph Curry, heliocentrism people, the injury ball supporters, they were pointing out on Twitter last night that Jonathan Kuminga had -11 net rating. Can I spend a little time talking about how idiotic it is for someone to say that?
Well, again, we can again, individual net rating is one of the weakest incomplete stats imaginable. One of our audience members tonight, Abraham DeLeon, pointed out astutely that Will Richard, who deservedly received criticism from me tonight because he had, by nearly every measure imaginable, an awful game. Played 29 minutes, 16 seconds, 0 points, 0. No field goals, no free throws, just 5 rebounds and 1 steal and 1 turnover. That's going to reflect his stat line, which is crazy. But as Abraham DeLeon in our chat, again, astutely pointed out, the only player on the Warriors roster tonight with a positive net rating. He was a +1. It goes to show, man, that stat means jack shit. And what I want to add on Kuminga, and then I'll shut up about him in terms of his game last night. Look, he missed 3 straight games with that bone bruise in the left knee. That thing is still clearly bothering him. He's already ruled out for tomorrow's game. I think they're playing the Bucks tomorrow. And that game last night, he only put up 4 field goal attempts. He only put up 4 shots. His goal last night was, like you said, defense, and that includes crashing the boards, man. He grabbed 9 rebounds. I think he led the team in rebounding last night. So, yeah, I'm not going to look at that -11 and interpret a damn thing from that, because Will Richard tonight was a +1, the only Warriors player in the positive, and he had 0 points in nearly 30 minutes of action, which is insane.
Jonathan Kuminga played an excellent game, and anybody who says he did not watch the game. And the reason why he was -11 net rating,
Yeah.
one, it's an absolute basketball travesty to use net rating of an individual player in at any time. Anybody who quotes that Brandon Podziemski has high net rating, you're not a basketball analyst in any way. You don't know what you're talking about. It's an absolute joke for one person, and it's even more of a joke to use it for one game. And anyways, the reason why Jonathan Kuminga had a bad net rating last night was because he's playing with Gabe Vincent. And this and Jock Londale is a little tired and overmatched, and he's missing threes. I think there should be a stat where how many assists would Jonathan Kuminga have if Jock Landale completed the open shot? Anyways, Gabe Vincent, and this brings up another point that I've always wanted to make. We've been talking about it. Guards in the NBA 2026 and winning basketball 2026 are irrelevant loser players. It is so obvious watching him play, getting exposed. It's worse than Brandon Podziemski. Shouldn't be on the court. And they play him because of this ball handling stuff. So it's one thing I'll keep an eye with Quinn Snyder. They feel like they need it. What's funny about it, is the Warriors play 3 or 4 of them at a time, of players that any other team wouldn't even play 1, nor if they would even think about playing 2. Anyways, that's a big reason why they went on that low losing net rating during the second quarter when Jonathan Kuminga was in the game.
And maybe most importantly, Armando, regardless of minus 11, the Hawks won that game. That's all that matters, man. Like who gives a shit if he was a minus 11 in those minutes?
Oh,
Dude, they won. That's it.
So what I really love is the opposing teams are so scared to challenge the Hawks at the rim. Like they get penetration and they stop short and they look to pass out because Ruchichet is ridiculously long. Kuminga's out there, Jalen Johnson and Mikhail Alexander-Walker, Dyson Daniels. Like these guys switch everything. And I wanted to talk about the 76ers game, which was a team that is a playoff team and is trying really hard.
This was back on last week, Saturday.
Yeah. And Tyrese Maxey was lighting them up in the first quarter and they were down. And they had to actually double Tyrese off the pick and roll. And he was getting to his spots. But they were not scoring because the Sixers were playing zone. And it was actually they were playing heavy zone. And the Hawks were having a hard time breaking it, and Jonathan Kuminga was injured. But over time, Cy, it was really refreshing to watch this team adjust. Like they started putting Jalen Johnson in the short roll, and instead, in the pick and roll. And so instead of Jalen Johnson flying to the rim to get like an alley-oop or go straight to the rim, he would actually slow down and float at the free throw line, catch the ball out of the pick and roll at the free throw line. And because he's such a dangerous 3-level scorer, he can actually take a fadeaway 2-pointer at 6'9". He was able to pass it down on multiple occasions for dunks and layups. And they totally adjusted to the zone. And it was so refreshing to hear. And so anyways, all the switching they do, all the athletes they have on the court, the other teams are having to play one-on-one basketball constantly. And it tires the other team out. With the Warriors, what happens is they're constantly having to double and help, and it makes the game easy for the other team. They're rested, and they play. That means they get to play harder. Remember I talked about watching the game with a fatigue meter? The Sixers got tired by the fourth quarter, and Kelly Oubre was going one-on-one. Maxey was going one-on-one. And you just lose your legs going one-on-one constantly. And that's what the defense is going to carry forward for the Hawks. That's why I'm really excited about these guys developing. You're muted, Si.
Muted, right. I'm still in shock at the fact that the Hawks have a sideline reporter. The Warriors vanquished that position about 3 years ago. So the Hawks still have someone they're paying just to give you reports from the sideline. And Marcus Barber in the chat saying that echoing your sentiments, Armando, because he watched it as well, saying that Kuminga, when he was interviewed in that by the sideline reporter, that he said he's enjoying it and teams doing a lot of things together. By the way, Armando, what's your reaction to Hamza in the chat, who wants to know if Armando, is it personal that you keep bringing up Hamza? Because he's wondering if you really dislike him or if you really thinks that he likes Steve Kerr. And even Hamza called him Stevie.
Hey man, if you're gonna be in here, you gotta have a sense of humor, my friend. Come on.
I think that's all he wanted was some clarification. So it's not
Man,
personal.
I don't know who you are. You're not even
not
on here
personal.
with a hold up. You're not even on here with a face or a real name. Like, I don't know if that's your real name. Like, we're just messing around, man. I don't know. I don't even remember what you said back in the day that just made that joke, but we're rolling with it, man, because it's funny. How are you not leaning into it, dude? You should lean into it, baby. That shit is hilarious, man.
Hamza would be flattered that your name is a noun on this program. There's nothing personal about it. So the Warriors next, we have one more show, Armando, before the Warriors and the Hawks play. And both teams are going to be playing a week from Saturday, and it's going to be the second of a back-to-back. The Warriors, dude, this is going to be. I'm very curious to know what the line is going to be for that game Saturday against the Hawks, because the Warriors will be traveling to Atlanta on most likely a red-eye flight from Detroit. They're going to play the Detroit Pistons on Friday night. And that's going to be an earlier than usual game. So it'll be happy hour-ish. With the time change, the sun will still be out, Armando, when the game's over and you and I start a post-game show. But that'll be the last show we do before the Warriors travel to Atlanta to take on Jonathan Kuminga's Atlanta Hawks, Johnny Kuminga. And first of all, the anticipation, I think, is going to be huge. Stephen Curry's not on the trip. I read a report that Steph is going to stay back. I mean, why the hell would he want to be in that building? But I anticipate Johnny Kuminga's team and his new fans will understand the gravity of the moment. They're going to understand how big of a game this is for them. I'm going to also take a wild stab here and say that Johnny Kuminga himself is going to want to, he's just going to picture Steve Kerr's face on everything that could use his aggression, right? Slam dunks, defense, penetration. This is going to be as motivated of a Kuminga as I think we're going to see. It reminds me my guess is we're going to see the version of Kuminga that we saw in his first game with the Hawks, when he was fired up and he had something to prove. And every time Kuminga's focused and every time the urgency is there for him, he always takes that leap, which is one of many reasons why I'm so livid that the Warriors traded him for Tingus Pingus. So what is the plan for Saturday night? I know you mentioned the location before. Let's rehash that real quick. And what do you foresee happening in this game? Because my prediction is the Atlanta Hawks are going to beat the shit out of the Warriors in Atlanta that night. And it's going to be a Kuminga feel-good type game, 20, 25 points, 10 rebounds, just big play after big play. The place is going to erupt. I don't even know how it's my guess is JK and Kerr will shake hands at the end, and Kerr's going to try to save face with his former player like he does in a lot of situations where he knows in the public eye people can act in a negative, aggressive manner toward him. Jason Tatum is one of the key players I think of who have no fond feelings about Kerr, but publicly they're going to probably try and fake it a bit to seem professional. What do you anticipate happening Saturday night, a week from tomorrow, when the Warriors are in Atlanta?
Well, I think JK is really hurt, so he may not play. He's really struggling with that knee.
I hope he plays.
That knee got inverted, and so they got to get him healthy because they're going to make a strong run in the play-in, hopefully into the first round. And this team, what I'm expecting from this game is to see Dyson Daniels make Brandon Podziemski look like someone who doesn't know how to dribble a basketball. And I'm expecting Rusheshe, who I'm becoming a true believer in. My man gets more rebounds.
Wow.
It just gets rebounds that I don't think anybody else gets. Tips and rebounds. And he has a quick release. He is going to be a true 3-and-D wing guy, not a fake 3-and-D wing guy. And I'm really excited by when they got Jonathan Kuminga, they pushed him to the bench, and he gets to be the 19-year-old guy without any pressure. And it's really that's why he's playing a lot better. And I'm really excited to see Rusheshe go up against some of these Warriors guards that they play out there.
Is Kuminga going to ever start, Armando?
What's that?
Is he ever going to be a starter? I know right now they're trying to ease him in and he's coming off the bench, but is the plan to eventually promote him to the starting lineup, or is he going to come off the bench at least for the rest of this year?
Who, JK?
Hmm?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Jonathan Kuminga is going to start eventually. It's just a matter of the synergy going on.
Who comes off the bench when he starts? Is it going to be McCollum?
Yeah, it'll be McCollum. Mikhail Alexander-Walker.
Great.
I don't know a single player on the Warriors that can stay in front of that guy.
Yeah.
and people think I'm making this up. We have already seen it. Just a reminder, when the Warriors were at full strength with a fully healthy Steph Curry, fully healthy Jimmy Butler, fully healthy Draymond Green, and a fully healthy elite 35-minute-a-night Brandon Podziemski, and a benched Guy Santos because Steve Kerr didn't think Guy Santos was any good, played the Atlanta Hawks at home in Chase, and the Hawks were coming off a back-to-back, got absolutely destroyed by the Hawks. The Hawks were already in a better position in the short term, Cyrus, than the Warriors, and they're in a better position than the Warriors in the long term. So I'm so excited to see them develop this year. Even if Jonathan Kuminga remains out, they have a lot of room to grow. I do really hope. I'm not going to make any predictions with the Hawks, Sai, because I don't know who's a playoff performer. One of the things that me and the cousins look at is, are you a Mike Bibby, or are you a Chris Webber? Do you have cojones or not? Are you a playoff guy or not? And we don't know. I don't know if Okongwu is going to shoot whatever 45% from three he's shooting in the playoffs. I don't know if Jock Landale is going to be there. They might be. They might not. CJ McCollum's legs look really, really strong right now. He's making everything. He looks really strong. I don't know if that's going to hold up. I've never seen Jalen Johnson in the playoffs. I've never seen Corey Krispy Kreme knock down shots in the playoffs. All of that stuff can struggle, Cy, and you really got to find out who are your Bibbies and who are your Chris Webbers. The Warriors last year, when they played the Rockets in Minnesota, found out that Brandon Podziemski could not level up in the playoffs, and he shot 10% outside of two garbage time games, and yet they still believed in him as a 35-minute-a-night guy. Effing joke. So I can't predict what's going to happen with the Atlanta Hawks, but I do know this, Cy. I'm absolutely rooting, and it feels good to actually root for a team that is building towards its ceiling, that is self-aware about its ceiling. And I really, really hope they get playoff experience this year, because next year they're going to be a team that surprises people in the standings, and it would behoove them to get at least one round this season, and to, I think they're good enough to make some real noise. Like, I'm talking second round more, but I just want them to get the playoff experience, because then they'll know who they got, who are their guys. So that's the thing that I'm looking at. The other thing, Cy, I want to say, we looked at the schedules for the Hornets, the Sixers, the Magic, the Heat, the Raptors, and the Hawks. The Hawks have the easiest remaining schedule by far. By far. The Raptors
and Philly just suffered the injury to Tyrese Maxey, who's likely going to be out for the rest of the year, if not for a good chunk of time. And I bring that up because Atlanta and Philly literally have the exact same record at 35-31. Charlotte is surging. Would not surprise me if Charlotte leapt ahead. I do think that I think Atlanta will they're going to be either 8 or 9. I think when all said and done.
Pull up Atlanta's schedule, Si.
Yeah, I actually have it right in front of me.
Look how easy this shit is, man. They might have one of the easiest schedules remaining. The only real tests are going to be the end of this year. It's going to be fun. End of this month against the Celtics.
Yeah, and Detroit. They've got a back-to-back at Detroit, at Boston, 2 games against Boston. I'm going to guess that Orlando game will not be a cakewalk. Knicks, Cleveland will. They got some hard games left, man. You think this is easy? I mean, Milwaukee, I would guess would be a win for them, even though with Giannis, who the hell knows? But Orlando, Houston, Detroit, Boston, Orlando, New York, Cleveland. Even Miami's not easy. So you think that's an easy schedule?
Yep.
Were you looking at the right schedule, Armando?
Yep.
Because I'm not looking at an easy schedule. You think that's easy?
Yep. East Coast.
Let's play that same exercise with the Hawks again that we just did with the Warriors. We'll put a win or loss depending on whether or not they'll be favorites. So Milwaukee's a win. Are they favored against Orlando?
They will not be favored against Orlando, but they're going to beat the shit out of Orlando.
Okay. All right. So we'll call that a W then. Okay. So Milwaukee W, Orlando W, Dallas W, Houston not a W, Warriors W, Memphis W, not Detroit, not Boston, Sac W, Orlando W, Brooklyn W. How are you feeling about them versus the Knicks?
They're beating all those teams. They're beating the Celtics.
Why do you say that? You don't know.
The Celtics just lost to the Hornets.
Because the Hornets are really good. You're sleeping on the Hornets.
The Celtics are overrated.
The Hornets, Armando, the number 1 5-player lineup in the NBA based on net rating, and it's not even close, goes to a Charlotte's Hornets team whose young core is developing and evolving right before our eyes. The Charlotte Hornets are right now, what they're doing is going to translate to them being a top 4 seed next year. Like, they're on the cusp of greatness. They're dangerous as F-bomb. Like, if I'm an Eastern Conference team in the upper echelon, meaning if I'm like a top 4 seed, Charlotte is the last team of everyone down there. That includes Orlando. That includes Atlanta. Charlotte is the last team I want to see, man. They're on fire right now. With that said, I will say it's going to be interesting. It's going to be riveting. I mean, at least these games are like exciting to look forward to. Whereas with the Warriors, it's like fudge, another one. I also didn't realize this until just now looking this up, Armando. How badly are the Minnesota Timberwolves regretting letting Nickeil Alexander-Walker go for nothing? I think they expected Rob Dillingham to be the guy that replaces Alexander Walker, and that plan failed miserably because they traded Rob away, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker is averaging 20 points a game. I didn't know that. God damn, good for him. 33.2 minutes per game. He's shooting 89.5% from the free throw lines, 37.8% from deep, which is more than good enough. 20 points a game. Bravo. Dude, the T-Wolves bungled that one. My God, what were they thinking? Just letting him go for literally nothing. They could have bird righted his ass. That was dumb. That was very dumb. Any thoughts on any of that?
Yeah, they got duped by Steve Kerr and Dante DiVincenzo. They thought they had a guy.
Dude, that's crazy, man. What Armando, you brought up cojones a moment ago. Did Joe Lacob get castrated? And if not, where did his cojones go? Because he looks like a nutless man lately.
Did Joe Lacob get rich by faking a Silicon Valley startup?
I don't know. I haven't done my research on that. You tell me.
Let's find out, Joe Lacob. Did your startup ever make any sales profits, or did you just cash in on valuation in the late 2010s?
I'm watching a phenomenal show right now. It's called Industry. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I have.
You've seen all 4 seasons?
No.
But that's a. I mean, I'm in the 4th season now. That is a phenomenal show. If you get your rocks off watching a program centered around funds, like venture capital funds, big banks, finance. It's good shit though. It's fantastic television. But that's Joe Lacob's world, and yeah, because that's what you're insinuating there. I don't know what happened to Joe Lacob's balls, but they've either shrunk or got cut off altogether. He does not act like a man with balls. Yeah.
Two more things I wanted to say about the Hawks. One, they hit the open man. and it's really refreshing to see. Like when you watch the Hawks, it ain't just try to find one old guy and get him open at all costs. It's actually hit the open man, and the open man takes the best shot, and everybody's supportive of everyone shooting and getting it in. So freaking refreshing to see. They actually support each other in the way that Steve Kerr likes to insinuate in the media. And the second thing I want to say, Cy, which is so refreshing about watching the Hawks on a nightly basis, is the announcers. The Warriors actually have the worst announcers in the history of sports TV.
They lose. There's a survey. I forgot who releases it that where people vote on 1 through 30, all the NBA broadcast teams, and the Warriors routinely, year after year, finish last.
Oh yeah. What I love about Dominique Wilkins is he actually says negative shit.
Yeah,
he's like,
he keeps
dude,
real.
He's like, Ruchichet, you gotta be better on that play. You got Jock Zandale, you gotta hit a freaking wide open shot. Come on, bro. Like,
and then meanwhile, you have Clint Asbuki going, and there's Podziemski with another back cut. Love those cuts. What a drive.
I love it. Fitz gives guys with lighter skin credit for hustling, even though they didn't complete the play. Like, great job trying to play defense. Great job trying to rebound. Great job trying to get that shot off. And then they're like down by 30. Anyways, Dominique said the other night again about the Sixers. The Sixers are taking tough shot after tough shot. They don't stand a chance against these Hawks athletes. Man, when I heard that, it was so fucking refreshing, man. Excuse my language. Like, I just couldn't believe what I'm hearing. And I love that old Southern guy they got next to him too. He's really refreshing. I really enjoy his play-by-play call. A lot of people don't like his voice. I personally like his voice. I think he's one of the best in the business. And it's such a pleasure to watch them.
This is the Hawks play-by-play guy?
Yeah.
He's got a Southern twang.
Experience. The product on the court is actually superior 2026 basketball. And they're struggling right now to get their best ceiling lineup together, but they know what their ceiling lineup is, and they're working towards it. And it is such a pleasure as a viewer to see a team developing a hard-to-develop ceiling lineup. And the announcers know it, and everybody's on the same page. It's great. It's so great.
But the play-by-play announcer, and side note, I love your background. I'm guessing that's Podziemski behind you, his forehead. Right? Is that a Brandon Podziemski forehead I'm looking at?
That's the hair that gets all the great rebounds.
The curl, bro, the curl. Wait, the Hawks play-by-play announcer like has a serious like Southern drawl when he speaks. Like does he say like Nikhil Alexander Walker with a grade 3? Like, does he talk like that?
Not really, no.
Okay.
I wish he did.
That Johnny Kuminga, oh man, he can spin a spittoon just like he drops them threes. Like, I would love to hear somebody like that actually calling games. Like Humdinger, just dropped the 3, Charlie. Do you want to go through scores and then wrap it up?
Sure.
Are you down for that? Okay. Let's get some scores. Chardal, hope you can understand. It's Friday happy hour, our normal closer tonight. We're going to sideline you, buddy. We'll see you again very soon, Sunday night, most likely, if you're available. But for now, let's play some tunes. That Hosh, god darn it, Johnny Kuminga. Another 3-pointer. Yoo-hoo! Well, the NBA Association had some games tonight. We start in Detroit. What? The Detroit Pistons were hosting the Memphis Grizzlies, one of the most egregious tanking teams in the NBA. 126-110 the final. Jalen Duren, the beast you mentioned earlier, Armando, 30 points, 13 boards in the win. Jay Small. Who the hell is Jay Small? Jay Small is Javon Small. Have you ever heard of Javon Small, Armando?
No.
He is a rookie second-round pick. A lot of rando names when I do these scoreboards nowadays because of so many teams tanking, playing just like some of these guys don't even have like profile picks on the NBA. It's just a gray egg. It's comedy. Well, Javon Small was the top performer for Memphis tonight with 23 points. The Pistons improving to 48-18. The Grizzlies dropping to 23-43. Armando, there are a lot of skeptics when it comes to the Detroit Pistons. I know the Hawks are your team in the East now, but I don't think you're delusionally a fan of the team, meaning I don't think you think the Hawks are a title contender this year. They're not at that upper echelon of Eastern Conference teams. My question to you is, skepticism abound when it comes to the Detroit Pistons, with the criticism largely focused on the fact that Detroit, outside of Cade Cunningham and maybe to a lesser extent Jalen Duren, don't have any go-to guys. So if you can lock those two down, you have a chance at beating that team, calling them flawed potentially. They're 48-18. Cade Cunningham, at least until recently, was an MVP candidate. I still think they're very dangerous. The Warriors are going to be there soon. The Warriors play Detroit a week from tonight. They're going to be in Detroit. What are your thoughts on that team? Are they a contender?
I think everybody in the East is vulnerable at the top. I think the Pistons, if you have two elite defenders and you stick them on the Pistons elite score, you are it's going to be trouble. And I think the Celtics went home last year fully healthy against the Knicks. You know, they were down 0-3 or something like that, right? And I think if you remember, the Indiana Pacers made it to the finals, Cyrus, on defense. The Hawks are not that different from the Indiana Pacers. The East, you need to remember, the East is not good. Overrated. That's the division that Jonathan Kuminga is in. And these Hawks.
Who is the... Yeah.
And that these Hawks have a high ceiling team, that they're in the East. It is something to root for.
Who is the Tyrese Halliburton on the Hawks?
Tyrese Halliburton is not that good. Mikhail Alexander Walker is right there. Urkel got overemphasized in how good the Pacers were last year. Siakam was the man. And they had a guard who was taking step back threes, scoring 40 points a game against the Knicks. And it wasn't Urkel. So that was a team-oriented playoff run, not a star-oriented playoff run. They almost beat the Thunder, Cyrus. Thunder ain't that good either. But anyways, Hawks have a chance to make some noise, and I'm looking forward to seeing it develop.
All right. We can strongly agree to disagree about Tyrese Halliburton's value, but I love that you call him Urkel. That is comedy. What is REE in her chat? Why does he keep bringing up these seats? Who's he talking? RE, what are you talking about? Oh, right here saying, why was Podziemski with Joe Lacob all summer? Were they together all summer? You mean for the Valkyries games? Is that the reference? I don't know. Someone else in the chat brought up that Money Checkup brought up. Was asking, have we seen Joe Lacob's wife with him courtside? I don't know. They're not on the screen, so it's hard to tell. But I haven't seen her lately. I haven't heard anything beyond that. If your insinuation is that there are marital problems, and maybe that is a correlation to Joe Lacob losing his nuts.
She's not watching the Warriors basketball, just like every other supposed Steph Curry fan ain't watching. Nobody gives a shit about this irrelevant shit show. Even the freaking owner's wife doesn't care. What a joke.
Barber saying she was in Atlanta. Elsewhere in the association, final score in New York. This is the next opponent for the Golden State Warriors. They're going to be in Madison Square Garden on Sunday. And the Knicks, winners tonight in Indiana, 101-92, the final. Jalen Brunson, 29 points, 9 assists in the win for the Knicks, who improved to 43-25. The Pacers dropping to 15-52. Jay Walker, that's not Javon Walker, is it? Is that his name? So all these players I've never heard. Jarris Walker, I'm sorry, was the top performer for the Pacers tonight with 18 points and 9 rebounds. Any predictions for Warriors Knicks Sunday?
I don't know. Could be a trap game. Can't tell with these guys. Who knows?
Is there a line? Let me see if there's a line. I doubt there is, but let's see if FanDuel or official sportsbook, they don't have a line currently. Okay, elsewhere, a few more games and we're done. The Toronto Raptors, 122-115 winners tonight over the Phoenix Suns. That is a result which did not help the Atlanta Hawks. The Warriors are in no man's land, so none of these games matter to them. The Raptors improving to 37-29. The Suns dropping to 39-28. Brandon Ingram, a player that Steve Kerr DNP'd in the FIBA Cup, 36.7 rebounds in the win. Who's the what's his first name? Jalen Green, 34 points for the Suns in the loss. Cleveland Cavaliers tonight, a team that, Armando, you are confident that the Atlanta Hawks are going to beat 2 times this season because they played 2 more times. They were 138-105 winners tonight. Evan Mobley, 29 points, 7 rebounds in the win. Cooper Flagg, 25 points in the loss. The Cavs improving to 41-26. Dallas dropping to 22-45. So you're confident that Atlanta is better than Cleveland, correct?
No, I'm not confident. I see their ceiling. Like I said, they're developing their ceiling. Do people not understand nuance in this chat? They know their ceiling and they're developing it. They can be better. They have the pieces to be better. So, anyways.
The New Orleans Pelicans gave their pick to the Atlanta Hawks so they could draft Derek Queens. And that's pertinent because the Hawks are closely monitoring every New Orleans game, and they lost tonight, which helps the Hawks. Houston barely hanging on to beat them, 107-105. Kevin Durant, 32.6 boards in the win. DeJounte Murray, who's been looking spectacular since coming back after missing over a year because of the torn Achilles. He had 35 points, 7 rebounds in the loss for the Pelicans, who dropped to 22-46. The Rockets improving to 41-25. What is your Houston Rockets opinion? Because I'm comfortably at a place now, Armando, where I don't think they're a contender. Like, I don't think they have a chance in hell this postseason. What are your thoughts?
Why do you say that? I haven't been watching too much of them.
I don't know if your screen is gone. Are you aware of that?
Yeah.
Okay. I say that because they don't have enough offensively. Like Kevin Durant, to me, is not someone you can rely on for 4 playoff series at 37 years of age, and they don't have anyone else. That's why.
Can I just take a moment, Sai, if that's true? Cousin Andres was in this chat over the summer and said the biggest mistake the Rockets did was trading away Dylan Brooks. Ooh. Cousin Andres said that, and that they actually effed up their whole plan by acquiring Kevin Durant. And everybody in this chat, not everybody, all the sports media, some of the Kerr believer types, I'll leave you alone, Hamza, said
the Hamzas,
was such a great trade. Oh my God, they're going to be elevated. No. Easy to see. You got to know how to watch, man. Cousin Andres called it. Dylan Brooks is a effing winner. Culture guy, man. Culture.
Good call, Andres. Good call. Bravo, sir. 2 more games or we're out. Armando, just make sure that the porn you're looking at does not accidentally reveal itself on your screen, sir. Portland Trailblazers. This is good news for the Warriors if you want them to tank, which is the only logical step remaining. The Portland Trailblazers beating Utah tonight at home, 124-114 to improve to 32-35. The Jazz dropping to 20-47. Sensabaugh for the Jazz, 31 points tonight in the loss. Donovan Clingan, 21 points, 15 rebounds, 3 steals in the win. And last, but certainly not least, the LA Clippers building some distance between themselves and the Golden State Warriors. now 2 games separating the two teams. The Clippers, 119-108 winners tonight. Benedict Mathurin, 26 points, 6 rebounds on the win. Josh Giddey, a triple-double in the loss, 20 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists. The Bulls dropped to 27-40. The Clippers improving to 34-32. What what the Clippers are doing this year is absolutely phenomenal. And one more look at the standings here before we go. I'll share my screen for that. And this graphic, I love the NBA mix these shows. Again, that the Warriors, just like that, are now 2 games behind the Clippers, who have a safe, secure foothold on the 8th seed. The Warriors are now just a half game ahead of the Portland Trailblazers. That's what separates them, the 9 seed, and Portland, the 10 seed. So the Warriors are going to be the 10th seed here very soon, it looks like. That's good. This is a good thing. We want this. Armando, any final thoughts as we wrap it up? Oh, real quick, let's look at the East as well. I do have an Eastern Conference graphic here. And then when we look at the East, Armando's new team. Right there, the Atlanta Hawks. They're 8th seed. They're tied with Philly, who's the 9th seed. Both teams 35-31. The Toronto Raptors are the team that the Hawks are chasing. Same with the Miami Heat. And Orlando is just 3 games ahead of Atlanta in the loss column. In the loss column. So Atlanta has some aspirations here. No pun intended with the Clippers.
Cyrus, couple things.
Please.
Tyrese Maxey's out for 3 weeks.
Yeah, I just said that. Yeah.
Oh, and Kelly Oubre's out too.
Yeah, Philly's screwed. Yeah, Philly's not is. I'm like, to me, if the Hawks are my priority here, the team I'm most worried about is Charlotte, because Charlotte is surging. To folks, if you have missed what the Hornets have done since the start of the year, this is a team that next season is going to be a serious, very serious team. I don't know if contender is perhaps a bit too hyperbolic. They might be a little too young and too inexperienced to be in that category yet. But between Knipple, between LaMelo Ball and the team figuring out how to manage him to keep him healthy, Brandon Miller has taken a leap this year. Miles Bridges is still Miles Bridges. Their center, I always forget how to pronounce his name, DeBontu, I think. He's solid as a defensive 5, causing havoc. That is a real team, folks, the Charlotte Hornets. And if I'm looking at this, I think the Hawks can easily surpass the Raptors. I think they can surpass the Heat. I think they can have a shot if Orlando cools off a bit. They've been on a good run lately. I think they can surpass Orlando. To me, and this is just me, but I think the Hornets are the biggest threat to the Atlanta Hawks right now. I really do. Armando, your final thoughts.
So the Hornets have not faced the fully loaded Hawks team, and nobody knows the ceiling of this Hawks. They made a massive trade. They made 2 massive trades. They don't even know who they are. So it's totally possible that the Hawks can actually match up well with the Hornets. And the thing I want to warn about the Hornets is they've been playing really, really hard. Sure. The Hawks are playing about 80-85% from my eyes, and getting these wins against tanking teams. But we don't know. I see the Hornets as playing, at near 100%. So we'll see how long that holds up. I'm not saying it won't be, just something to keep an eye on.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
On if you go back to the West, I just wanted to point out that the Blazers beat the Warriors at full Jimmy Butler, Steph Curry strength?
Yes.
3 times this year?
Yes. And the one time the Warriors won, the Portland was missing Denny Avdia. They were missing Jeremy Grant. Like, they were decimated with injuries that game. So, but yeah, the Portland won the season series 3-1 this year. Yeah.
So I don't really get the goldfish memory sometimes in the chat, but whatever. Just trying to remind.
The other flip side of that is you have some people in the chat saying that asking if the Warriors can fall out of the top 10. And what that would mean is you need Memphis or Dallas to go on a huge run. This is how crazy the top 10 and the bottom 5 are. This has been predetermined months ago. Like the Warriors, right now, the Warriors have been sliding. They're currently mired in a 4-game losing streak. I think they've lost 8 of their last 11. And it's been just ugly basketball for months now. They still are 9 games up on the Memphis Grizzlies. And Memphis is the team who would have to overtake the Warriors and or Portland to get into the play-in. And Julian Bashir, I think, was nailed it in our chat, saying that even if the Warriors lost all of their remaining games and finished with a 32-50 record, they'd still be the 10 seed. That's crazy. That is crazy. But that's the reality of it. The Warriors are a play-in team no matter what.
I think the November 11th, no, the November 21st game against Portland and the December game against Portland on December 14th is when Draymond Green realized this team ain't doing shit. And the only thing that was available to him was just selling hype in the podcast. That's the way it was going. I think when they lost these games, he knew.
If you don't mind, I want to lay out really quickly what I think happened. And the moment you're referring to, which I remember clearly, was that game where Draymond was looking at the box score after. And remember, he was complaining about certain players and individuals having agendas. Yeah, and we never knew who he was talking about exactly.
Talking about Steve Kerr.
He might have been. But here's my and then a short while after that, he had the meltdown where it wasn't a meltdown, but he had the disagreement between himself and his head coach Steve Kerr, where Draymond just basically took himself out of the game and went to the tunnel so he didn't choke his coach out. Here is my theory. My just completely wild guess for how that went down and why Draymond is suddenly so much more complacent and why he turned into a company man. My guess is that Steve Kerr sat him down. They had a meeting of some kind, whether it was casual or formal, but they had a meeting of some kind, and Steve Kerr laid it out for Draymond that the dynasty's probably over. He understands how competitive Draymond Green is, but I think the perspective he provided to Draymond was, if you keep it cool and toe the company line and don't constantly gripe about the team not being at the championship dynasty level that Draymond has been accustomed to, he's going to preserve his legacy with the organization and the region. Meaning what Steve Kerr sold Draymond was, look, if you keep it cool and you don't complain about our team going to utter shit, 10, 20, 30 years from now, this organization will still revere you. They'll have Draymond nights. And he could just point to the Chicago Bulls as an example of a franchise that 30 years later is still milking a dynasty and doing nothing since. And it wouldn't surprise me if Steve Kerr had a conversation like that where he was like, look, Dre, I know you want to win championships, but your life is set. You are a god here. And you're going to be making money for years to come after you're done playing. You'll have coaching jobs presented to you, front office jobs presented to you, broadcast jobs presented to you. Just keep it cool and let's all go down in this ship together instead of you trying to raise a stink and make some noise because you don't think the team's good enough. And my guess is Draymond took the bait, listened to that crap, bought it up, and he's towing the company line just like everyone else is, and it's very sad. That's my envisioning of what went down, Armando. Am I off base, or
no, I think that was extremely well said, well put. I think I said a couple weeks ago, Draymond is probably angling to get some kind of position. He wants to be a guy with the Warriors.
Yeah,
doesn't want to get traded, and yeah, I mean you can't speak truth right now because you're trying to get paid on the back end. They're just selling a myth, hope, and he's trying to get that front office, whatever. I don't know what it is, make some money, get to live in the Bay Area. Great life, man.
Exactly. Like,
yeah, Draymond's winning at life.
And that's what Kerr sold them. Is like, you just, look, we're not winning any more championships, but you're set. In terms of your future with this team. The Warriors will be without Stephen Curry for at least 5 more games, minimum. He's not going to go with the team on this upcoming 6-game road trip, but we'll have you covered right here. No show tomorrow. We're back Sunday. Next Thursday, Bryce Lewis of Believe in Hawks is going to join me. We're going to do a Hawks Warriors preview show. Then Friday, immediately after Warriors Pistons, you and I will do another preview show. And then Saturday night, where are you going to be for the watch party, Armando?
Aloha Club in Oakland, California.
Beautiful.
Across the street from Fruitvale BART Station.
Beautiful.
There'll be a corner marked off for everybody. There's a taco truck out there. I'll be there. And the game's at 5. No big deal. Come in and enjoy the game. Have a beer.
Beautiful. There you go. Julian Bashir's asking, have I reached out to We Talk Hawks TV yet? No, I have not. Sorry, I think you emailed me with that, but anyways, it's 12:30 at night. Armando, why did the camera get turned off? Are you like changing? What's going on over there, man?
I'm slowly degrading here into slumber, so we gotta wrap it up.
We're wrapping it up right now. Anything else we want to add? I'll promote this for you real quickly. Do not subscribe to Sprewell Was Right. It's available on YouTube. Armando hasn't looked at the subscriber numbers since he first launched the thing. I think you still think there's 57 or 58 subscribers.
I think we slowed down, man. I don't think anybody cares anymore. It's all good.
It goes for all Warriors shows right now, but that it's bad for business when the team you cover.
I don't care about no Warriors.
It ain't good for business, but nonetheless, do not subscribe to Sprewell Was Right. But if you want to check it out, it's on YouTube. You can follow Armando Lara on socials. We started with threads at Mando_man10 on Twitter. Armando Lara M as in Mary. Those are the handles. And anything I forgot, sir?
Yesterday, Cousin Andres, we uploaded a podcast, and it got a lot of. It was a lot of fun. And Cousin Andres, we called it. It's episode number 2 of the Echo Chamber with Cousin Andres, and he talked pure Hawks draft, and then he got to rip on Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors. Very fun. Oh, he made the prediction that Steph's not actually hurt. He got suspended for a secret suspension for PEDs. That was a fun moment. We enjoyed that. And
so this is like a Jordan level conspiracy going back to the 90s when a lot of people thought that Michael Jordan got suspended for gambling and he didn't actually retire. And that's still a suspicion by a lot of people to this day. Before we go, Brooklyn to Penny and dropping a
Bill Simmons.
What's up?
Email Bill Simmons, conspiracy.
Brooklyn Opinion dropping a $4.99 donation. Thank you, sir or miss. I think it's a sir, writing a top 10 pick with Steve Kerr is a waste. And it's crazy to write that. How is Podziemski low assist and negative plus minus, yet that doesn't lead to DNPs? It just leads to more minutes. He doesn't play defense. There's no playmaking. He just chucks shots and just dribbles with his head down into crowds. I added that part. Hashtag DNP him. Brooklyn Opinion, well said. Your opinion was acknowledged, sir. Armando, any follow-up to Brooklyn Opinion in his late paid comment?
Plus minus individual players don't mean shit.
Yeah. Again, Will Richard tonight, 29 minutes. 0 points, yet led the team in net rating. Make that make sense. It doesn't, because net rating individually is just an absolutely worthless stat. Brooklyn Opinion, thank you. Armando, thank you. Are we done?
That's it, man. I had fun. More
Always.
Hawks to come. Can't wait to see where it goes. Very enjoyable. Very enjoyable to be watching NBA basketball. Finally.
We're back Sunday. Armando, we'll see you next week. Thank you, brother. Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.